This is turned down. Yes.
I didn't realize that the sun was going down soon because it's gray.
All right. We are live.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Two Captains, One Pod.
What kind of pod we're in? You decide.
We are on, what is this, episode 18? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Jesus, we've come a long way. 18 divided by 4, that's about 4.5 months we've been doing this. This is phenomenal work.
Something like that.
That is phenomenal work.
7.5 months exactly.
Yeah, 4.5 months exactly. I mean, that's the rough-ish 4 weeks to a month, but that never truly locks and coincides. I mean, it's about, we've been doing this since January. I think the first episode was back somewhere in January. So
sounds right.
But as you can tell, I'm in my uniform this time, guys. I picked the excursion jacket just because it was the closest thing to me at the time, and as you can notice, this is not Ensign Carter. No. This is Ensign Kai. Ensign Carter is down in sick bay. Think he came down with, I think, like the Vulcan measles or something like that. I don't know. They're reading the book on him. Gonna get him taken care of. But we got Ensign Kai filling in.
Not to mention they wouldn't shut up, so they put him in a medically induced coma.
And it has been so nice on the Kitty Hawk. Just kidding. We love you, buddy.
Hello,
I forgot to do the
Kai.
space of Final Frontier. Oh well.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh no, this is all you.
Okay. So should I do the space of Final Frontier thing? You know, fucking I'm a bit. Space. Final Frontier. These are the voyages of Task Force HR. It's continuing a mission to find and create new ways to go to the Admiral's office. To go to HR like no one has gone before. We gotta make our own too.
Oh, I know.
But okay, so yeah, we're on Star Trek Insurrection this week. I watched it earlier today. I forgot how good that movie is. I haven't seen it in so long that I'd put it at the bottom of the barrel where it doesn't really belong. I think I'd put it kind of more towards my mid-tier. My mid-tier level. Like, it's a good movie, but it's not a great movie. I have my tops that I'm going to keep up there. But I think it's right there, right up underneath those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is probably about where I put Insurrection. And I forgot about the little bitty, we never know what the fuck it's called, but that little bitty walrus-looking thing.
Oh, yeah, that
like
thing.
That big, the kid runs around with. I fucking want one of those, and I forgot how much I wanted one of those until I saw the movie this morning. And then another thought came into my head. What is it that every time we meet a new admiral, they're a fucking dick. They're a fucking piece. They're a problem, and we have to deal with them. What is going on? I mean, once you hit Cap, what the hell? Or once you hit Admiral, what the hell happens? Like, you just, lose your moral compass?
I don't know.
It's definitely a trope that Star Trek had in the later years before it got revived.
Yeah.
Before we got Discovery and everything like that.
I think it's a play on power corrupts.
Which would be a great thing for Star Trek to do as a whole. I mean, but I just gotta say, I mean, it's been going on since the 60s. I mean, shit, the first time we met a Starfleet Commodore, that Commodore did everything he could to get Jim Kirk off the bridge and take over the Enterprise in the most dickish way possible. first couple.
Well, okay, that one
after-
was a little bit different because he wasn't like actually like didn't have a moral compass. He lost his entire crew, which would be his entire family, and so that's why he
That
went.
is
That's why he
true.
went a little
Mad with grief.
cuckoo.
That's true, but also, I mean, and then Next Generation, within the first season, the first few admirals that we get, the first time we see the admiral's uniform,
Mhm.
this guy's off his fucking rocker, and then we find out, oh, they're just parasites living inside the bodies, and we have to like kill them, and there's no way to get them out of them. So it's like, just all the
Unfortunate.
Starfleet's head just gone. Okay. I just find it funny. I really do. I was like, my God, another fucking admiral is a piece of shit. But let's see. Picard gets a love interest in this.
Which Patrick
Which,
Stewart himself
okay.
actually requested.
Right. And it's not Dr. Crusher.
Right?
Go figure.
Figured.
Well, they got to keep that will they won't they
watching
alive.
Picard today,
Yeah.
like, I was okay. So I watched Insurrection, and then I watched a little bit of Picard season 2. I think I'm at the very end of Picard season 2, about to hit season 3, if I haven't already. And I'm just honestly surprised with everything we rehashed with Picard in the Picard series. I'm surprised she hasn't come up, because she seems, in this movie at least, a very pivotal person. Very, what's the words I'm looking for? Very impactful figure for Picard. So
And
I'm surprised she hasn't come up yet.
she doesn't come up.
Wow.
She comes
Surprised.
up in some of the books that take place during that era, I guess. She does pop, like, not the actual character, but they do mention her at the very least in one of the books or so that like pop up. But Insurrection is pretty much the last we see of Anish.
Okay. Yeah, surprising. Like, it's I mean, it fits Picard. It does as a character. The whole thing fits Picard, a little one night stand here, a little love on a planet, but then, nothing really comes of it. He continues on with his life. It is very fitting of Picard, because while he's not the ladies' man like Riker or like Kirk were, he is, he's still got that je ne sais quoi. He's still got that.
Which is fitting because he's French,
way
even if he's
about
the most
him.
British Frenchman in the galaxy.
Exactly. Let's see. My article tonight comes from Screen Rant. It is Screen Rant, written by Gregory Thompson, published January 26th of 2018. 16 things only true fans know about Star Trek Insurrection. So, noting that Kai has not seen this movie, I want Kai to tell us what Kai knows and what Kai does not know about this movie. Because every time an article is used the words true fans, we have debunked the fuck out of that. And you are definitely going to be our testament this time, Kai. So,
It's up to you.
You don't have to. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything, but
Oh no, he's gonna put you on the spot. Don't listen to him.
Wait, hold on. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Hopefully
or
that
anything, but
phaser is set to stun, since you're putting me on the spot.
Where's the fun in that?
I know. Set it to stun, you pussy.
To be honest, my poor ADHD brain, all I know is, and this is very vague. They They go to a planet, and Data is one of the individuals who goes down to the planet. That is as far as my knowledge goes. Unfortunately, my poor little ADHD brain.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. You're hitting a big mark there, at least, because you know what? As well as when the movie starts off, Data is definitely the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feeling they want you to take on as the audience when this movie takes off, is that Data has gone rogue. But me being me, you know, again, I hadn't seen this movie in a while, so, you know, I forget the take that they were going to go with this for like the longest time. I was forgetting where exactly they were going with this. I was automatically on the side of Data, like automatically. It was Data's malfunctioning. No, you guys are fucking up
Data's not
somewhere, and Data's just
malfunctioning.
doing.
Data doesn't malfunction.
Data's just doing Data stuff.
And that was my exact take on it. The opening of the movie, I'm like, oh no, Data's a bad. No, he's not. No, never mind. Fuck that. Strike that. Data's not a bad guy. Data can do no wrong. As an actual parent, I am not one of those that my child can do no wrong. But when it comes to Star Trek, Spock and Data can do no wrong.
That's understandable.
Yeah. That's fairly understandable.
Oh, by the way, John, I wanted to show you this real quick since I got you here. And I mean, perfect place it is. So I picked this up at a. So we have something called First Monday here,
Okay.
which is basically a giant flea market meets garage sale that happens on the first Monday of every month, hence the name. And people will bring a whole plethora of fucking things. And I got this, picked it up for I think like $10. Comes with a miniature Riker, miniature Picard that I could take out of here, and with the Enterprise,
Oh, it's
also take it off
one
the
of
stand.
those.
I
Yeah.
can put them
You can put
inside
it.
doors right there.
So I used to have a bigger version of that when I was but a
That
wee
is-
child. I used to have an Enterprise
is
D
so
that was like
cool.
it was like maybe about this big.
Yeah. Well, it came with these guys. So
What are
this was part of a
those?
sweepstakes. I'll tell you. So this was part of a sweepstakes. It's Star Trek Triple Tribbles game. It was a little bitty, hey kids, let's get you interested in gambling game.
There was a lot of those back then.
Anyway, so for Deep Space Nine, they were trying to get some stuff going for Deep Space Nine, and so the prizes was the grand prize was a Starfleet or Klingon multimedia home theater command center built in your living room by set designers from Paramount Pictures. Then you could go to if you didn't
Sorry,
get the
that would
grand
get the
prize,
adult
yeah,
gambling.
right?
Never mind the
Right. You
children.
got a trip to Hollywood and an authentic Starfleet uniform. So you got to visit the set of Deep Space Nine. The third prize. So
Can I say
there
something
was one
about that
grand
one though?
prize. Huh?
Can you imagine your kid entering this contest, not telling you, and you win, and you just have set designers come to your house and rip up your living room?
Dude, Timmy, what is this? What are you doing? Why did you?
Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't tell
I'm
me.
gonna be a very
nowadays
different kind of
order
parent.
things with
I'm
their
like,
parents' credit
oh, we're
cards.
getting
You
new
can't
shit.
tell me
Yeah,
that
okay,
kids
cool.
back in the day didn't enter these contests and stuff without adult permission.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So, and then there was three first prizes, which was, like I said, a trip to Hollywood and an authentic Starfleet uniform. Yeah, sounds real nice. Second place, there were 5 of these guys. A piece of the Star Trek Deep Space Nine set. Now they have listed here a photo of a tricorder. So probably just a screen used tricorder, maybe a phaser, a communicator badge, something very small. But there's only 5 of them, so like you're getting something cool from the show.
Mm-hmm.
500 third place prizes was a Star Trek toys and book set. 1,000 fourth place prizes was Starfleet Academy CD-ROM. And
Wait, like
5,000
Starfleet
fifth place
Academy the
prizes.
game?
I don't know. It just says CD-ROM. I'm pretty sure it's probably the game is what they're talking about.
Which, an awesome game, by the way. We should talk about it one of these days.
And then 5,000 fifth place prizes was Star Trek Deep Space Nine, a comic book. Now, what's really funny is that the comic book featured in this photo, that one right there, I have that exact comic book within my collection. Now, I was totally joking with my parents and my wife. I was like, you know, I'm gonna scratch these. What if I got the grand prize? Like what happens, you know? And
I was about to say it's probably not even valid anymore.
Oh no! But it would be fucking hilarious.
Right?
I'd still call Paramount and be like, "Hey, there's what we're gonna do here." But green was your first place, which was a trip to Hollywood, an authentic Starfleet uniform.
Wait, they both came up green?
So what you had to do is you had to scratch here on the match part. And if the color you got there was also on your box, you won whatever that prize may be.
Ooh.
So I scratched both of these. As y'all could tell, they both came up green, and green was the color on the box.
What?
Green again was a trip to Hollywood, an authentic Starfleet uniform.
Oh my god.
Now here's the deal. I already have this style uniform because it is the Deep Space Nine Season 5, 6, and 7 uniform, or the movie uniforms for Star Trek, Insurrection, Nemesis, you know, go figure. First Contact. So, you know, I don't necessarily need the uniform, but like Hollywood, Paramount, can I still get the trip, please? Because I hear y'all are looking for some more actors and voice actors to be on these newer shows you're thinking of. So, like, I'm still interested in the trip.
Oh, and he's bringing a friend,
fair,
right?
You could see if they would still
long as we got that sorted out.
Back it. You could see if they would still back it, because I mean, there was a lady who had lifetime warranty parts on her car, and
you know, in all honesty,
let's just say the mechanic that she got it at was shut down, and they just transferred her to a different mechanic.
I've thought very seriously about it because, in all honesty, it is an old Playmates toy. That's the funny part. It is Playmates, which we found out last time. Playmates no longer holds the Star Trek Toys line. We thought it was transferred back to Diamond Select, but Diamond Select is no longer. Like, they're gone. And it's this new company. However, it's still Paramount, and Paramount was the one paying for all the shit, right? If they were to fly me out, and I got to choose a buddy, of course, I'm taking John here, but if they were to fly me out to Hollywood, for a trip to Hollywood, there's only one thing I want. Again, I don't need the uniform. I'll be showing up in uniform. Trust me, I'm getting on the plane in uniform. I'm riding the plane in uniform. I'm debarking the plane in uniform, okay? I don't need a uniform.
What's the one thing you want, Chris?
To the bridge of the Enterprise. Take me on the Universal Studios Hollywood attraction bridge of the Enterprise. I want to go through the game, and I want to sit in the fucking chair. Okay?
This is probably the closest I'm ever going to get to that.
Right? The box was from 94. It was, I mean, the box had gone through hell. The whole thing had gone through hell and back. You could tell this thing was, you know, packed and put away, unpacked, you know, thrown around and all that good stuff. So, like, but it was still sealed. Like, this thing had not been opened ever. And I debated for a long while whether to open it or not. But I was like, I'd rather have it as a display piece than some clunky box in the corner. Because I can, you know, there's more space with it out of the box than there is in the box. And like I said, the box wasn't in a pristine condition. I've gone on eBay. It's a $30 toy on eBay for a pristine box. I bought it for $10. You know, I've seen some on eBay that are $5 that are in better condition than the one I had. that I tore the fuck apart to get the toy out. Like if I wanted the box, I'd go back and get the box. But yeah, I was
obviously.
just shit myself though. In all honesty, I was like, I looked at both. I looked at my mom and my wife, and I was like, if I scratch this off and it's purple, I'm going to shit myself. Because purple, of course, was the grand prize, and I'm sitting there thinking, I swear to God, this will be the only damn sweepstakes I win in my life. One that I can no longer claim the voucher for.
Well,
I kind of won.
We don't know if you can even claim the prize.
You know, I might do it. I might fuck around, call them just to see what they say, record that, and put it up on the TikTok page that we have for this podcast, just to throw it out there, just to see what the fuck they say. Because again, at bare minimum, look, take me out to Hollywood for a day. I'll do some fucking voices for you, and then I can be the next voice actor for one of your next Star Trek animated shows, because I know you're wanting to do animation Star Trek, Paramount, and I'm a great voice actor. I swear to God, I really am. And one of the best voice actors you'll ever find in your entire life. Just really incredible. You know, top of the line. Other voice actors, not that great. Not that great.
I think that would make Kyle a little uncomfortable.
Now, you could say, but you need a more commanding voice for Star Trek. So I present to you this one. We're going to go out to Rigel 7. Warp 9. Engage. But look, if you need a Kirk-type character, I got you there. I did not have sexual relations with that woman in that office.
Oh, see, I thought he was going to do like the comma after every fucking word.
Not gonna lie, I did too.
Like, I thought he was going to pull out the Shatner voice for this one, where he only speaks when there's a comma every other word.
John, that style of acting is outdated.
It
By about 50 years.
may be a bit outdated, but damn it, it's still good.
Like I said, I might fuck around and call him. I've been debating to do it. Mostly because I don't have the box anymore. I got rid of the box, and I think I'd have to have the box to prove that the green was on the box.
What?
But
Are you stupid?
I put it up to come back in here, and Dad put it in the fucking trash can. So, not my fault.
Go dig.
Oh,
Want your
love,
trip to Hollywood? Go dig.
That was about a week ago. The trash is already come and gone by then.
Well, shit.
The sentiment still stands. Go dig.
Well, then
Well,
go.
I got the
Well, then
extension
go
jacket.
find
I
the.
might as well.
I was about to say, well, go find a box that's got green on it.
Honestly, I'll just
Take care of it.
I'll just fuck around on eBay, and I'll find the one that has purple.
Watch it be the $5 one.
Right.
You won on the $10 one. Imagine.
But yeah, I love these. They're really cool. I've decided
cool.
to keep them because I'm gonna frame them up. Just because, there's no I looked for these, right? I also looked for these on eBay. Nobody's selling these. Nobody really kept these, so I'm framing the fuck out of mine just because it's funny. It's funny to me. No one's kept these because who does? I remember when I was little. Right.
And if you didn't win, why would you keep it?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
There was the Transformers when I was little. Transformers had one. The grand prize was you got to meet Peter Cullen, right? Voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, I remembered that.
So I never won. Like I said, I have never officially won a fucking sweepstakes I have ever entered in my entire life until this one.
Me neither.
I didn't win Peter Cullen, so I threw the damn thing away. So, you know, I understand not a lot of these are around, which is kind of why I want to keep them, because I find it fucking hilarious. I mean, and the last time I did something like this, so I also collect sports cards, and I happened to come across at an antique store an old pack that had bubble gum in it from the 90s of hockey cards. So I was very careful when I opened up the package, took the piece of gum out, the piece of gum that is older than I am, and I am 28, sorted my hockey cards that I was very happy to have, and I kept the packaging and the gum. And I'm talking to another friend of mine. This was a couple weeks ago. That package I got almost 4.5 months ago. I'm talking to a friend of mine a couple weeks ago. We're going through cards and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, check this out. I kept the packaging in this fucking piece of gum I got from a bubble gum card pack. He goes, you are a fucking genius in the most idiotic way. I go, what do you mean? He goes, there are collectors out there that will collect the packaging and the gum. And considering yours is in such good condition, that is about a $30 piece of gum. How much did you pay for the pack? I said $5. So I still have the piece of gum. It's over here in my shit, somewhere behind me.
See, my intrusive thoughts would have gotten the better of me, and I would have tried the gum.
I'll tell you what I almost did. I'll tell you. What I almost
Not gonna
did.
lie, same, John.
I'll tell you, it was hard as shit. It was hard as shit, but I'll tell you which one almost did. Okay. Flavors have changed over the years, right? I've noticed certain flavors of certain things have changed over the last 20 years. I have a bottle of Coke and a bottle of Dr. Pepper, both unopened glass bottles from when the original Ranger Stadium was built. When it was called the Ballpark at Arlington. Back in 94.
Thank you.
Oh, how badly I want to open both of those bottles and taste what Coke and Dr. Pepper used to taste like before I was born.
Before they started banning ingredients.
Right. So, like, I know they're going to taste differently, and I know they're going to taste like childhood. So, like, the will is there. It is so hard to fight that off. So fucking hard to fight that off.
I mean, shit. I've
And
only
apparently
got
there's a Pepsi bottle out
one
there,
can
too.
of this stuff left,
Mm.
and I am saving that bitch.
Yeah, see, I've got Jurassic Park put out the new ones for Dr. Pepper.
Ooh.
So I've got 6 of the 9 cans that they have out for the movies. And we're getting the other 3 very soon. I think that's the right amount. I don't fucking know. Either way, I'm getting the rest of them very fucking soon. Okay. I am... No, 6 of 11. There's 5 cans I need left. 5 cans I need left. That's what it is. And it's so hard not to drink them. Like I had, let's see, a couple years ago, back when Dominion came out, unfortunately, a accident costed me all fucking cans of that one. There were 9 cans of that one at that time. And an accident cost me all of them except for 1. When I tell you, it was so hard to look at the God, what's it called? The berry one, the blue Dr. Pepper that comes out every summer or every other summer.
Yep.
That is my favorite flavor of Dr. Pepper. 100% my favorite fucking flavor. It's so damn difficult to look at that can and not crack it open every time I go past. And that is the one that survives from that group.
What do you mean, Blue Dr. Pepper?
Hold on. I got you. Let me look in the tablet real quick.
Your poor Canadian friend is sitting here going like, what are you talking about? Blue Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, it comes out like Chris said, like yeah, every other summer.
Hey, Chris.
So it officially came out. It's Dark Berry is what it is. It's Dark Berry. And it officially came out with the Spider-Man No Way Home films. But they also had for Jurassic World Dominion. And that's what it is. It is a blue can of Dr. Pepper.
Hey,
And
Chris.
it is fucking delicious. What's up?
Hey, Chris. You want them all dressed chips?
If I find it again, I will snag one for you and send it to you.
Or any interesting flavor of soda, because apparently in Canada we only get the basic of basic flavors, and then sometimes
And you don't have that.
not widely available. Those are like you go into a gas station, you look at what they have, and it happens to be there. Not every gas station has it.
Oh, you poor
Like-
Stacey McConnell.
I walked into Walmart
Yeah.
a week ago, and Justin saw these, and these are not our normal Pepsi. They're zesty citrus Pepsis, and they're blue. But these are like they're not in the drink aisle. These are on the pallets in the aisles that go like up and down, not like through like the aisles.
Oh,
with the shelves.
yeah. Yeah, the special
These
edition
are
palette.
these are like, hey, buy this. It's new. It's
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, it's new. It's special. I'm gonna buy it.
Ah, new print. Little yellow.
Right? But when I
Okay,
say
how
in order
recently
to
did
get
you watch Wayne's World? Because I watched it a week ago.
Like Saturday?
like like to be honest, if I want to buy any soda that isn't like a normal flavor of the soda, I have to
Yeah.
go to a specialty store where I pay like $4 a can
Jesus fuck.
because they got to pay the
Okay,
import
okay.
fee.
And it's the
Tell you
choice
what,
of a new
I know-
generation.
I know you're coming down for my wedding, Ty, so I will definitely make sure that every specialty soda that we get normally, I will have available for you so that you may try one of each. And then I'm going to film your sugar crash because that's going to be funny as fuck.
Lucifer says you're a saint.
You know, in all honesty, I would love to fucking animate the fucking old Grey Poupon commercial, but doing it with us two, the Hornet and the Kitty Hawk. Disengage impulse engines on screen. On screen. Excuse me, Captain Hudson. Do you have any Grey Poupon?
But of course.
All right. Let's get into this article here. Again,
Anyway.
written by Gregory Thompson. Written by Gregory Thompson. We haven't read anything from him on Screen Rant, but at least it's not Chris, so we're in the clear so far.
Yeah.
Star Trek Insurrection is the 9th film in the movie series, and the 3rd to focus on the cast of The Next Generation. Although Insurrection didn't do well at the box office as First Contact and Generations, It did the most of any movie opening the same weekend in December of 1998. Okay. Even though everyone involved worked hard to keep the next feature-length version of Star Trek relevant and action-packed, many reviewers found Insurrection to be simplified incarnation of a TNG episode. There was praise for the directing and visual effects, but most people had issues with the main storyline and subplots. I kind of agree with that to a point. It does very much feel like an elongated Next Generation episode. But I think you could also say the fucking same thing about The Wrath of Khan with the original
I was
series.
about to say, you could say the same thing about most of the
So-
movies if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
honestly, I think that's
as
more
much
true
as I
of the
agree
motion
with it,
picture
it's
than
not-
it is Insurrection.
Yeah. So as much as it is correct, I
I have issues
you
with
just yeah.
But this is my favorite next gen movie we're talking about here. So.
Right. Insurrection was
Fair.
nominated for awards like the Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction and Young Artist Awards for Best Family Feature in a Drama. But the number of awards the Star Trek movie managed to take home was 3. The Silver Bogey Award, 2 million theater goers saw the film in 20 days. An International Film Music Critics Award for Best Original Score for a Fantasy Sci-Fi Film. And Michael Welch won the Young Artist Award for Best Performance in a Feature Film Supporting Young Actor. Clearly, the reception was mixed, but like other Star Trek movies and series, it was behind the scenes that made Insurrection interesting. Some shocking revelations emerged, many during the development and pre-production stage that might make you watch this movie with renewed interest. Here's 16 things you didn't know about Star Trek Insurrection. Canceled anti-grav scooter chase scene like in Star Wars. Okay, that one I definitely did not know. Movies large in scope like Star Trek had to have scenes written that never get shot. One such scene for Insurrection involved an action sequence between Picard and a Suna, yeah. During Planet Baku's evacuation, Picard brought anti-gravity scooters to assist in the transport of people to the proper locations for extraction. At one point, a chase scene would be filmed between Picard and Rafael on those scooters. However, observant members of the production team left notes expressing their concern about the similarities to Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Can have hover scooters. It's space.
I mean, I can see why they would cut it solely based on that.
Yeah.
But I could also see how, as watching that movie, how you could have it in there and it feel completely different from Return of the Jedi.
Oh, absolutely.
Because first and foremost, let's talk about the fact that Return of the Jedi did it in a dense fucking forest in Baku.
It's not a
had
dense fucking
no
forest.
tree.
Very,
It
very
was
little
a
trees.
hilly region, yeah, very, very hill mountainous region. So,
And
you
not
know.
nearly like the, as I like to call them, the redwoods of Endor.
Yeah. The team felt their chase scene would be extremely close or an absolute ripoff of the indoor speeder bike battles and chase sequences in Lucasfilm. Notes stated if they were going to go ahead, then it needed something innovative enough to make it different.
Like what?
I mean, yeah, sure, you got to make it different, but no, I mean, there's been a lot of things, especially sci-fi. Yeah, writing sci-fi, and especially now, is a lot harder. It's almost like trying to come up with your own original superhero at this point in time. Because no matter what, guaranteed, there's already a superhero out there with those same exact powers, and you're blatantly ripping them off. Hell, you might have even come up with a fucking name that you're like, nobody's got this name, and it's like DC Comics, Comic 323, Edition 1. There he is. And you're like, fuck you then, you son of a bitch. You know, so it's gonna happen where, you know, things are gonna get crossed. Hell, there are several ripoffs between Star Wars and Star Trek that they've pulled on each other over the years. Several. That would not have been the first, and sure shit is not gonna be the last. But yeah, making it just different enough does and would help. Let's see. Patrick Stewart insisted on a script rewrite. Oh, that sounds pretty typical for Patrick Stewart and these movies. Because, let's see, for First Contact, he also demanded a rewrite. For Generations, he also had a few inputs on the script. So we're getting pretty on brand for Patrick Stewart here.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Stewart was given the title of Associate Producer for Insurrection. This was his second producer title, the first being a TV movie called The Canterville Ghost. Given the second draft of the script, Stewart wasn't keen on it. He felt this draft was just a longer television episode. It didn't quite have the scope and feel of a movie. It might surprise you to learn that Paramount agreed with Stewart, so Michael Piller completely rewrote the script. Very little of the second draft made it to the third draft. A number of subplots were created, but Piller still found the story lacking. It was a request of one of the main cast members that gave Piller an idea for a storyline that would have nearly everything he, Stewart, and Paramount wanted. Okay. I kind of feel like I got no information with that whatsoever. I'm just gonna say it, Gregory. You're kind of pissing me off here. Okay, it looks like you're reading something, writing it down, and then putting your name on it. Whose homework are you copying? And can I find their original list, Gregory? Because yours is pissing me off. Give me more information. If I don't know this shit, give me the information behind it. Data died and then didn't.
Eh?
I know throughout the movies, Brett Spiner had a problem playing Data because he was coming into that part of his life where he's about to start aging and it's about to show. And Data is very much a I don't age because I'm an android.
Right.
So I know there were several talks with him through the movies where he either had to wear more makeup or they digitally enhanced his face during some of the movies to keep him looking ageless because of that. And he had talked about if Next Gen had gotten another movie, they were gonna have to do something with Data, whether either write in the plot where now Data's got an aging chip or write Data out completely because he's starting to show his age.
Well.
So, and we know how Picard solved that situation, or at least you know how Picard solved
I know
the situation.
how Picard solves that situation, but and then we all know what happened.
Right. So, okay, let's again, it doesn't look like there's a lot of information here. Just, you know, he's just going on.
He's copying somebody's homework.
Here's the title. It's gotta be, because like here's the title, and then here's like, okay, so this is the book. And the book has pages on it, and the pages have page numbers, and there's 42 pages, and that's my book report. That's how this feels. That He's almost as bad as Chris is right now.
Just about.
He's almost on a Chris level, but okay. The character of Data seemed to travel on a merry-go-round of either staying alive or being killed in the movie. No one from the producers to the writers could definitively make up their mind. Producers had thought of killing Data and recasting him at the end of First Contact. Brett Spiner himself thought he was too old for Data and figured the best way to move on was to have the character killed. For Insurrection, this idea was first written into the script, but Paramount didn't want the popular actor killed off. Pillar rewrote the plot to include Data dying early in the movie, but resurrected to help Picard at the end. It was to ensure that if Spiner continued the role, writers could work around the death by moving the consciousness to another body. Well, you know what, Spiner? I'm going to tell you, like Ryan Reynolds told Hugh Jackman, they're going to make you do it till you're 90.
They're gonna make you do this till you're 90.
90. Ageless android, my ass. We're gonna turn Data into that, what's that Robin Williams movie, Bicentennial Man?
Something like that.
Yeah. Director Jonathan Frakes gets no help. Okay.
All right.
As most Star Trek fans know, Jonathan Frakes has helmed the director chair on various episodes of Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Discovery. He also directed First Contact, and even the video game called Star Trek Klingon. Frakes was picked early on to direct Insurrection, but during the initial development process received no help on story. One of the ideas Frakes was hoping would come to fruition was to have John Delancey reprise his role as Q. Except nothing ever happened with that, which greatly disappointed Frakes. And the fans! I've said it before and I'll say it again. The fact we did not get a Q movie with the Next Generation cast is fucking horseshit. That would have made the best movie. That would have done numbers like Wrath of Khan did. That would have been their Wrath of Khan. That probably, if they had ever done it, would have outdone First Contact in Generations. 100%.
Hey Chris, I sent you a link.
Where did you send it?
Discord.
Okay.
Behind the scenes.
Interesting to note that Frakes didn't direct another Star Trek episode or movie for 20 years until the Discovery episode, Despite Yourself. It's possible Insurrection gave him a bad feeling about directing anything further for Star Trek until the new series.
My mother is calling. I unfortunately have to go.
No worries. We'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Talk to you guys later.
Let's see. Paramount wanted to copy Voyage Home. A big look. Pretty fucking typical, it sounds. Star Trek First Contact was a big success for Paramount, so much so that the studio quickly greenlit an additional movie with the TNG cast. Producer Rick Berman conceived a number of storylines. He suggested an action Star Trek, like the previous movie where Picard undertakes a rescue mission. Another idea had a movie focused on Data and Lore's return in a Wrath of Khan style plot. And a final thought was to have Picard kidnapped and switched with a modified imposter, which eventually became the film Star Trek Nemesis. But Paramount had other ideas, but since Star Trek Voyage Home proved their most financially successful movie to date, Paramount wanted something similar in tone. Instead of emotionally heavy story like First Contact, something lighter along the lines of the Voyage Home was the goal. Again, you're not saying much there. You're really not. Like, okay, did they succeed? Was Paramount happy with this movie? That's the kind of shit I want to know. That's why I looked this shit up. Canceled Romulan protagonist. I'm not gonna read this shit. I'm just gonna go through. Let's see this one. The many titles besides Insurrection. Paramount and the writers had no shortage of titles, and naming the movie proved a large challenge during the development phase. Michael Pillar's first titles of Heart and Lightness and Stardust never made the cut. Potential titles included Where Time Stands Still, Forever, Beyond Paradise, Pathfinder, and Millennium, Past and Future. Hold up. Millennium. We're going to go. At first, he wanted a speeder bike type scene, and then you're also on top of that going to name it Millennium. Now I believe you were trying to rip off Star Wars. Now I believe something's a little fishy here. Let's see. Past and Future, Transcendent, and Rebellion. Are you...
Well,
also on the slate, Prime Directive, The Resignation, The Enemy Within, Breach of Promise, Dereliction
The
of
Enemy
Duty,
Within,
and
wasn't that the
Apostasy.
name of one of the episodes? Like, isn't that a title of the
Yeah.
next gen episode?
I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty sure. In a later interview, Pillar said his favorite had been Star Trek Sacred Honor. But Paramount said no to the title. They felt it was too religious. This might just be me having been raised in the Bible Belt and Southern Baptist culture and being around in the world that we live now. But in what way does sacred honor translate to religious? Because to me, you just take the word sacred honor, not applying it to Star Trek, my first thought is the Japanese Empire.
Yeah.
You apply it to Star Trek, my first thought is the Klingons. Because those are two cultures that are about nothing but fucking honor. So, but okay. When the script was finalized and approved, no title had been conceived or picked, so the script was called Star Trek 9. And even when it came to shoot the movie, still no title was chosen, and the tentative title continued as Star Trek 9. Yeah. No. Yeah. Bye-bye. To the captain's quarters.
Are you okay? On your
I don't
way.
know. Is he okay?
No, I heard a thud and our daughter's on her bunk bed. So
Yeah.
she hit the ceiling.
All right. F. Murray Abrams' makeup process. I'm sure this.
This ought to be interesting.
I don't want to read it, but like, again. Makeup for science fiction movies, since many of them have aliens, are typically elaborate. Star Trek is no stranger to creating exotic and unique looking aliens that are almost instantaneously memorable. F. Murray Abrams, who played Rafał, spoke about the makeup process in the book The 50-Year Mission, the next 25 years from the next generation to J.J. Abrams. For Abrahams, the makeup process took 4.5 hours. Smiling caused major hiccups in applying the Rafał mask. Smiling affects the eyes. Abraham said, if you're going to make a proper mask, you have to get little tiny thin pieces of latex and lay them in to follow all the muscles so that when you smile, it smiles. His day for Rafał started around 4:30 a.m. Makeup for 4.5 hours. Shoot scenes, then 1 hour to remove the makeup. This next one just feels like an overstatement from the first couple that he's talking about and saying it tested bad with audiences. That just again sounds like an overstatement of what you've already said. But also, I'd like to add, this was probably my favorite shot from the movie. Of all of them standing there when they're about to beam up together, you get them all in a line. I love this shot. It is a phenomenal shot. On the cutting room floor, insurrection, like many expensive science fiction movies, or overfilmed, and a post-production team worried about what to include in the final edit. With insurrection, many scenes were dropped. According to some stars of the movie, a lot of those scenes were great. Robin Quark from Deep Space Nine made appearances in the movie. Rob, played by Max Gordonchik, had a scene where he emerged as a Trill in the library sequence. Quark also has a scene where he was being his usual self, setting up timeshares on planet Baku.
That would have been great.
Pissed we got robbed of Quark. I'm kind of pissed we got robbed of Quark. One cutscene that disappointed Patrick Stewart was his kiss with Angie.
Niche.
It was a studio decision. I'm sorry?
A niche. Not Angie.
A niche. Yeah. This dude has it written like Angie, so like that's what threw me off.
Should be AI or AN, like IJ or something like that.
Yeah, it should be, but it's ANJI.
Well, I have a problem
Yeah.
with this man.
Yeah, it was a studio decision, he said, but still somewhat inexplicable. As I feel the audience were waiting for some kind of romantic culmination to the relationship, which did happen and was extremely pleasant. Captain Picard has serious woes. Many versions of the initial drafts of the scripts functions. The treatment for the first idea had Picard tracking down an old friend, Hugh Duffy from Starfleet Academy, who becomes a renegade. Duffy tried to cause a war between the Federation and Romulans. Picard would have to bring Duffy back from the neutral zone. The Romulans wanted to take over a location called the Fountain of Youth, and Picard's helped Duffy stop that. Thank God that wasn't written, because doing one about the Fountain of Youth would just very much kind of feel a little too Star Trek 5 for me. And the search for God.
And I probably still would have loved the movie.
Yeah, you probably would. All I gotta say is, if they had done the Fountain of Youth thing and then not gotten them in the uniforms that they were in when Generation starts, would have been a waste of a shot. Just because Conquistador. Just go ahead, put them in the Conquistador outfit. Let us know what we're getting into. You know you want to do it, you sick bastards.
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Dude, two movies have ruined the Spanish Inquisition for me. That's one, and then History of the World Part 1, which I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I think I have.
But it is a Mel Brooks film. For those of you that haven't, it's a Mel Brooks film. And it is the most hilarious thing. And you have Mel Brooks and his band of guys singing The Inquisition. And so every time I hear the Spanish Inquisition, all I hear is, the Inquisition, it's here to stay, the Inquisition.
God damn it.
But again, I mean, let's just go with it, Trek. Come on.
Yes.
You wanted to.
Bastards.
You really wanted to. Okay, here's how it finishes. Picard is arrested, and his rank is stripped away. A revised version had Picard resigning from Starfleet because he felt he couldn't follow the Prime Directive anymore. Eventually, the Sona Baku storyline won over the Romulan plot, but the idea of the Fountain of Youth stayed in the script. And it just became the Planet of Youth.
Which honestly, like up until like maybe a few years ago, I never ever saw that connection between the Fountain of Youth and the planet. Like up until like maybe a couple years ago, like I never saw
Yeah.
that particular connection.
I gotta be honest, it's kind of blowing my mind right now because like I said, it'd been a while since today that I'd watched it. And even watching it today, my mind wasn't necessarily open to that idea, but now reading that, it makes a lot more sense.
Mhm.
So, but at least they didn't make it overtly the Fountain of Youth story. I mean,
Right.
they did it in a way that made us, again, not realize that's the story they're going for.
It's very subtle. Very subtle
Yeah.
how they did that.
Which is Star Trek V would have done that. Probably would have been a better movie.
Whatever, I still love Star Trek V.
Let's see. Mariana Sirtis fell asleep while watching it. When a movie bores you, but you feel obligated to watch it because you're with a fan of the movie, you may fall asleep. You try to stay awake, but the movie is either terrible or simply doesn't interest you. For Insurrection, Mariana Sirtis never saw the completed movie before it was released. She has stated before that Insurrection isn't her favorite Star Trek film. In fact, she feels Star Trek Nemesis is infinitely better when the two movies are compared. Perhaps the fact that she's never been fond of Insurrection was the reason she fell asleep halfway through the movie's premiere. This was her first viewing of the movie since it was finished, and she couldn't have fallen asleep at a worse time at the movie's gala premiere event. Oh shit.
Oops.
Teaser trailer reused previous movie scenes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there are plenty of movies that have sagas that are known to do that. Hell, Star Wars has done that with their movies.
Well, even the trail, like the original teaser trailer for First Contact, used scenes from Generations, from Voyager, and I think even Deep Space Nine, and even the original Next Gen.
Right.
Which made, if I remember right, which made a lot of people think that the either the Enterprise E was going to be a Galaxy class, or that the Enterprise D was going to come back for that movie. Since they did use some scenes from Next Gen.
Right.
Which actually, the Enterprise E was supposed to be a Galaxy class. Let me see if I can find it here.
Okay. While you find that, I'm going to read this. Anthony Zerbay, Admiral Dotery, recites Dante's Inferno. A number of actors auditioned for the role of Admiral Dotery. No actor was outright offered the part like some of the other actors, but one actor was unanimously cast after he did something unique. Okay. So just for casting, okay. And then now we're back on some bullshit Riker with no beard. If you didn't know that, and you have seen this movie, the only thing I could think of is you must be blind. And I'm not trying to be a dick. No, you must actually physically be blind. And to you, I'm very sorry that you cannot watch Star Trek and enjoy it the way that I do.
So there it is. The original model for
Okay.
the Enterprise E.
That looks wrong.
Doesn't it though? Like, oh my god. But the reason they did that, The reason they did that is because of the original movies. Because
Yeah.
the Enterprise A was the same class. It was still the Constitution class. That's why they were going to make the Enterprise E
Right.
originally Galaxy class until they came up with the Sovereign class.
Right. Also, on the Riker with no beard part, though, I will say I don't think it was much of a shock for me watching it this time. I don't think it was much of a shock for me, mostly because we see him getting ready to do it, and we're also kind of distracted by Mariana Sirtis' tits.
Yeah,
So,
fair
you know,
point.
like we don't outrightly see them, but like we know they're there and they're out, and so we're just hoping the soap goes away just enough.
See, I like that he shaved his beard in this, but not that I am okay with the death of a beard, but like it reminded me of season 1 Riker. And it was
Mhm.
kind of cool to see him kind of go back to that look. But
Yeah. That and it's also reminiscent of when you get to towards the end of the movie and Riker is conflicted about his feelings that he's had for Deanna
well, he asked where,
because
yeah,
of the planet. And Worf says, "Your feelings are the same they have been since the moment you met her. They're only just coming to light."
you think the
Now,
way we feel about each other will change when we leave this place? Your feelings have
yeah,
not changed about her since the day I met you, Commander. This place just let them out for a little air.
yeah, yeah, and it's very much, you know, that line and the shaven beard. It does. It takes me back. That exact moment takes me back to the very first time we see them together
Mm-hmm.
on the bridge, and that little bitty, oh, they gonna fuck.
Well,
You
and
know, it's like, oh, they gonna fuck. Like there's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. Like even Hannah, who has seen bits and pieces of these shows, has seen that and immediately was like, oh, they're fucking. I was like, no, not yet.
not for a while.
But she's like, oh, but they do. I was like, huh, yeah, they do.
Eventually.
But let's see the last little bit here. Different casting choices. A number of other actors were considered for roles in Insurrection. Arnold Schwarzenegger was offered the role of Raphael, but he declined the
Ruafo.
part.
God damn. I'm gonna blame it on the spelling, but yeah, his name is Ruafo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't.
Spit it out.
Picard, you have tried to deny me too long. I've come to kill you, Picard. Hasta la vista, baby. I just can't do it. I can't imagine it.
I kind of want it now. After you did that whole little bit, I'm like, I kind of want it now. Like Star Trek versus the Terminator.
Nah, I will kill you, Picard.
Get to the starship now.
Get to the shuttlecraft. Yeah. Fire phasers.
Hey,
God.
Picard. Suck my photon torpedo.
I am Captain Terminator of the USS Skynet.
Oh my god. Let's see. Here we go. We got others. Patrick Stewart really wanted his lifelong friend Brian Blessed to play the role of Admiral Duddery. Blessed is an experienced spaceman and would have been a great Easter egg for the movie. Blessed has over 800 hours of astronaut training from Russia. He's also the top civilian on the wait list to travel to the International Space Station. Also considered for Duddery were Wilford Brimley and Gene Hackman.
Wilford Brimley.
We
Isn't that the
almost got-
diabetes guy?
we almost had Mr. Freeze and Lex Luthor in the same movie together in another project also owned by the DC Comics Corporation.
But yeah, Wilford Brimley, isn't that the freaking diabetes guy? My name's Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
I think so. Let me
Let me pull out my pad here.
It is. It sure shit is. It is diabetes. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Picard, I got something to tell you. I got diabetes.
Diabetes. Hurts me to pee and causes me to be short with my family. Last week I ran out of vanilla ice cream and struck my wife. Then I find out my wife's been dead for 6 years. Who the hell did I hit?
You gotta love Family Guy.
Find out my wife's been dead for 6 years.
How did I hit?
Stuffed my toe on the coffee table and took it out on the dog.
I was watching. Okay, so while we were waiting for you, I was watching. I was watching TikTok, and there's this one video that showed. It said Ice Age really let us know what order they were doing the movies in, and what they were going to be about. And it's the original Ice Age movie. As they're walking through the caves, and in the ice, Sid sees different things, and it gets to the last one, and there's a UFO there, and then the little kid just does this, and it's like, my God, Star Trek has been everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
Little bits and pieces of Trek have been everywhere, and it's so surprising to see. Even now, it's so surprising to see how far out it reached in pop culture.
Oh, I love seeing how far it reached. I don't think it's weird at all. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Should be there every time.
I guess weird was the wrong term, but it is fascinating to take a word from Trek. It is fascinating to see how far out it goes and where they can slip it in at. Because you get shows like American Dad, Simpsons, Family Guy, Futurama. You could just slap it in there and it'll fucking make sense because of the type of shows that they are. But a movie
Spock,
like Ice Age, you can't just throw it in there.
No, but it is interesting.
Oh, we're almost halfway done with season 2 of Strange New Worlds. So we're about to hit the original series. I'm real excited for that.
You hit the crossover episode yet?
I don't think so. I think we're on season 2, episode 5. I think we're at the halfway point right now.
Okay, I think you're pretty close to the crossover with Lower Decks.
Yeah, I want to say, I think it's like I think it's like 6 or 7. So it's either the next episode or the one after.
Yeah.
But
I think you're going to love the musical.
I mean, it kind of depends. Look, I'm not, funny enough, yeah, I might be a theater major, but I'm not a musical guy. I'm really not. I have every single
freaking song from that episode. Like,
yeah.
I listen to them in the car and I sing along.
Yeah. Well, see, and I say that, right? I say that, but okay. I proposed to Hannah with the Running Home to You song from Flash from the musical episode. Did it exactly how he proposed to Iris is how I proposed to Hannah. On my playlist in the car is Running Home to You, Super Friends, more I Cannot Wish, and then what is it? God damn it. Oh, Put a Little Love in Your Heart. All from that episode. All from that musical episode.
Get to
Because I did enjoy those crossover episodes where they did all the singing and stuff. It was fun. And Super Friends is probably one of my absolute favorites.
Like I said,
So
I think
I'm
you're gonna
curious to
enjoy
see
it.
how it happens. I hope so. Like I said, I'm not
Get
big
to
on
the
musicals, but
war in
every now and then I'll
necessitate
find one to
state
get
when
to.
I'm able.
But I will say the episode we're on right now, Spock and Chapel were in a shuttlecraft. They're drifting through, and then some aliens kind of fix Spock so that he looks like
That episode
Chapel?
was so freaking hilarious. Oh my god, I laughed my ass off with that episode.
and Spock. Oh, Hannah got upset because the episode cuts off and goes to commercial right at what the fuck,
What the fuck?
and it goes to commercial right there. And she goes, I really thought we were gonna hear Spock say fuck. I was like, really?
Yes.
You really thought Spock was gonna say fuck?
Well, he did. We just didn't hear it.
Yeah, we just didn't hear it.
What the fuck?
But you know, and it has me laugh. It has me laughing where
And then
we've
he
been
just
at so
goes
far.
nuts
And-
with his human senses.
yeah.
With the bacon.
Oh my god, dude. We've gotten to the part where his mother is on the ship. That's where we had to pause. That's where you
And he's
texted
got
and
his
said you were
he's
gonna
got
go.
his beanie on, his Starfleet beanie.
Yeah, got a fucking beanie on. It's like every time I see Spock with a beanie, three things come to mind. Spock in that one episode from the original series where they go to the 1960s-esque
He
planet
got his head
and they have to
caught
fit
in
in.
a automatic rice picker.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the fucking, you know, Voyage Home little fucking band
With the
over the fucking ear. Looking like a goddamn kung fu master. Also,
City on the Edge of Forever. That's the episode. You're welcome.
fucking I can't believe I haven't mentioned the Sinner. While watching Picard season 2,
Mm-hmm.
they gave us a really great Easter egg from Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Yes, they did.
When they go back in time and he's sitting on the bus, dude, that shit had me laughing. The guy sitting on the bus, it's the same dude.
It's
You
the
can
same
tell
guy!
it's the same dude. And he's like, I'm listening to the same song. That's what got
Yeah.
me. He's listening to the same fucking song. It's, I will let you. And can you turn that down? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The fact that the guy like
He
he
does
was like,
not wanna
"Oh
get-
shit, it's gonna happen to me again." God damn it!
I am so happy that they added that one little Easter egg in. I was like, okay, this has been worth everything that I've had to go through with Picard so far. Like, don't get me wrong, Picard has been a decent series. It's had its ups and downs.
I don't
with
think
me,
you're gonna like how season 2 ends.
but I really want to get into season 3.
I think you're gonna like it, but you're not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah.
I found it.
Thank you, baby. All right, go back in there, please. But yeah, I like I said, I love. I like Picard. I really do. It's got its ups and downs with me. It's got some things that I don't
Season
necessarily like.
1 was rough for me
But
to
it's
get
got some
through.
things. Yeah, but it's got some things that I do love.
Season 2 was, in my opinion, season 2 was a lot better than season. Still,
Oh,
in my
absolutely.
opinion,
By-
still
by
wasn't
a long-
great, but I liked the story well enough.
Yeah,
And season 3
Yeah.
just blew it out of the park for me. Like, you are going to be like creaming your
Right.
pants over season 3, and
I'm sure,
everything they throw in at you is
Yeah.
unexpected, pops up out of fucking nowhere, and yeah, no, it's Harry Metalis knew what the fuck he was doing when he
yeah.
yeah.
I gotta say though, I mean, even though we never got the Q movie with the Next Gen crew, getting Q and Picard is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to see John Delancey still having fun with the role, still getting to be sarcastic and shit.
Well, and I love
mean,
how they
I just love
introduced
John
him
Delancey.
in season 2. Like, he's still his younger, like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
let me
Yeah.
catch up.
And then boom, you know, it's like I fucking loved that. That was great. And having met John Delancey,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when you meet him, he's going to give you the esque of Q.
Yes,
Okay,
he
You're
does.
you're gonna meet Q when you meet John Delancey. They are one and the same. You know, I
He is
very much think
amazingly
that
tall,
character.
too. Like, I was shocked
Oh,
by how
yeah.
tall he was. He's got at least
Oh,
another
yeah.
foot on me. Like, damn.
Oh yeah, like Dr. Crusher. Oh fuck! I've got the binder right there. I'll grab the photo because we got a photo of both Dr. Crusher and him. Let me grab it real quick.
I have a photo with him, but on my phone. Hold on. I got this shit. Hold on. Send it to myself.
Never figure it out. It's only for the
I'm here.
Find it.
Okay.
Gotta
I
find
know.
it, but I'm gonna find out.
Had to kind of almost Indiana Jones the shit out of there, but
Oh, let's see. I have way too
by the
many
way,
damn,
guys,
I have way too many
for
damn
those of you
pictures
that
on my
watch
phone.
on YouTube, if you don't have one, build yourself one. It is a con binder. They are so nice. It's a great way to keep everything intact, where you can get to it easy. And you can, you know, the way I have mine separated is like through con. Then we have like our business cards and stuff like that, where we can find the business cards easily. Because me and Hannah are a big business card couple. We, you know, when we go to cons, we plan for a certain amount of money to meet the people we want to meet. And if we have anything left over at the end of the con, then sure, we might spend a little on the floor, but we never plan for stuff on the floor. So what we do is we grab business cards. And we'll usually we'll usually go through the companies after the event, so that way we can get what we want. We might not get some of the discounts that, you know, we would get if we got it at the con or whatever, but still pretty good deal. And we still get to see what else they might have. Maybe they didn't bring to the con, but maybe we wanted more than something at the con. So a con binder is definitely your best friend. Get one, stay organized. It's really fun. Here is the photo right here. Dear God, me with no beard. So like
That's
I'm
awesome.
about the same size. I'm about the same size as Beverly Crusher. She's actually bending over, so she's probably a little bit taller than me here. And then John Delancey's got like another 1.5 feet on her. So, you know, he's a very tall guy.
Yes.
That is awesome.
So that was Colorado Springs Comic-Con a couple of years ago. I went with my brother, and obviously we have matching uniforms.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just so cool. And he's kind of hunched
I
over there
remember-
too, but yeah, he is tall. He is a tall man.
Yeah. And then let me grab it because you've seen it several times. I haven't shown it off yet. At least not here. So let me show it off. You know the story I'm about to tell. Not you. And yeah, you do too, but you were there for it. Okay,
Yeah,
you know the story I'm about to tell.
Yes,
You've heard it
I
100
do know
times.
the story you're about to tell.
You're gonna and you love it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my technical manual for Star Trek: The Next Generation, Galaxy class starship USS Enterprise NCC 1701D. Now, some people would have had the entire cast and crew sign here, or even here. I've neglected to do that because I decided to have some fun with it. So, as you see, LeVar Burton, Geordie LaForge signed here because he wrote the damn book. All right, he's the chief engineer. He wrote this book. If we go through here, there are notes that I've made about where others have signed, so I could find their signatures throughout this book.
Mhm.
There's Dr. Crusher. So again, I'm meeting John Delancey, and where do I have Q sign? What section do I have Q sign? Because Q wasn't on the ship. I mean, yeah, he was on the ship, but he wasn't part of the crew. Well, general overview is where I have Q sign. And John Delancey takes the book and he goes, "Now, why in the world do you want me to sign in the general overview section?" And I said, he said, "If you give me a good reason, I will sign here. Otherwise, you must choose an 8x10. I said, "Okay, fair enough." I said, "Although Q thinks he knows everything, he only truly has a general overview of the human species as a whole, let alone Picard, his dearest and closest friend, whether he wishes to admit that or not." John Delancey said not another word, took out his pen, and signed the damn book right there.
Yeah.
And he looked at me after signing it and he said, "That was a good reason." And then he went to talk to my wife, and him and my wife nerded out about history and history documentaries, which was really great. And then in medical systems, we have Dr. Crusher. So eventually we'll have the entire crew in here. They will each get their own page, get to sign this in different ways. And like I said, throughout here, you can see the little Q right there for,
Mm-hmm.
what page number and everything. I mean, it can be found. So, if anybody ever ends up with that, they're going to look, oh, they only got one signature? No, I got them all. You just got to go
Got
through
'em
the
all.
book. But
Collecting them like damn Pokemon cards.
yeah, right. Yeah, I fucking, again, I love the fact that they brought Q back for the series. If you're gonna bring the next gen crew back, there are characters you have to bring back, and that's Guinan and that's Q. The addition of those two characters in this series,
We got both of them.
yeah. And it may not be Guinan as we know her. It's not Whoopi Goldberg, but
Well, we did get Whoopi
The-
Goldberg,
we did.
but I was about to say the Guinan we
but
meet
we're
later on in the episode, I guess.
Yeah, the Guinan we meet later, and,
Which-
and the Guinan for the majority of season 2. The woman who played Guinan does a phenomenal job. I
Yes,
love
yes,
her.
she
I
does.
think she brings as much charisma to the role as a young Whoopi Goldberg did in the original series or in Next Gen.
I guess they did kind of explain it, but I do kind of have an issue. Is that Guinan does not recognize Picard when they go back to 2020, whatever the fuck they went to.
Right.
Because she had already met Picard by that point, as well as a lot of as well as like Data and some others, which is in the episode Time's Arrow, and they just decided to completely throw that out the window. That's my only issue with it.
That and then my big thing, I get wanting to add the nod. I 100% understand it. However, having her work in the 2020s on Earth at a bar that is essentially 10 forward
Mm-hmm.
like when we meet Guinan the first time, when it's Whoopi Goldberg's Guinan, and the bar is 10 forward after Enterprise D, after the Next Generation series,
That makes a
after the
lot of
movie.
sense.
That made sense. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But doing it before that, like 200-300 years before, just didn't make sense to me.
Man, I
You know,
didn't,
don't-
I didn't pick up on that, but like I
Yeah,
didn't even
'cause
think
they
about
have
that
her at
until
the-
you just brought it up.
Yeah, because when they go back in time, he stops off. He knows where to go. Forward Street, 10 forward. The address is 10, street is forward, so it's 10 forward. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love the nod. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't have been in the past. It should have been something different. You still could have made the building number 10. Just name the street something a little bit different or something.
Right.
I don't know. I might be reading him. I might be doing too much. But like I said, to me it doesn't make sense. But I still love, like I said, I still love the show. I still enjoy the character. I think this actress is phenomenal. Like I said, she brings a charisma to the role that really reminds me of young Whoopi Goldberg on The Next Generation. And then, of course, when we do see Whoopi Goldberg playing the older Guinan at 10 forward after everything, for the current date of everything going on in the series, I just love how she knows it's him as he walks to the door. It's. Shall I get you? Let's see, tea, Earl Grey, hot.
She's just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's like, it is so great because I remember watching, the videos of when he went on The View to ask her to come back for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them sharing that moment, and it was such a beautiful moment. It brought them both to tears, and it brought me to tears watching that, as a fan, because you realize how much they were a crew, a team, a family when making that series.
Absolutely.
Give me 1 second. Little man's waking up.
Oh boy. Well, here we go. Oh, let's see. While he's dealing with that. Send myself some of my other content.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. Like sending myself more of my con pictures here.
I got you. Oh, it's a good smell. Leave the door.
I can freaking find them. Dang, I have way too many pictures on my phone. Mostly memes.
Dude, one of my favorite one of my favorite con photos of all time was getting to meet Sean Kinney. It's one of my favorite con moments of all time. Getting to meet Sean Kinney. For those of you that don't know, Sean Kinney is the man who took over for Captain Pike in the Captain Pike Found Alive episode. Considering the fact that Jeffrey Hunter had passed away in 1966, just shortly after filming the pilot. And so when they did the Captain Pike episode, they had a new guy come in. And so Sean Kinney was the man sitting in the wheelchair. And meeting Sean Kinney, he had stated to my mother that I reminded him a lot of his son. And we sat there and we talked for about 3 hours my first day at this con. This was my very first con experience. This was my very first moment interacting with the celebrity at a convention. And I'm sitting here getting to talk to this guy for 3 hours, just talking his ear off about Star Trek and everything else. And, you know, he's like, hey, do you want to get a picture together? You know, let's do this, let's do that. He offered to buy me and my mother lunch for that first day, just because, you know, for some reason he liked me so very much, and I just thought it was the coolest fucking shit. So I ended up having lunch with Sean Kinney and his wife.
All right.
With my mother.
Okay. Here's a little bit of my album, and I'll blow this up real quick. So that
Okay.
you may know him. He's on TikTok. I got to meet him at FanX last year.
Kind of looks familiar, but I don't think I do know him. I don't follow a lot of Star Trek people on here, to be on TikTok, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I need to correct that.
He's cool. That's M.NEY, knee. M.NE. I got
Okay.
to meet him for the first time. I didn't even know he was there. Like, I was in line for my Star Trek The Next Generation photo op with
Right.
Jonathan Frakes, LeVar Burton, and Will Wheaton. And all of a sudden, I see this guy walking over to me. I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? And then, like, he gets a little bit closer. He's like, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. And then later on, like, after that, they have a Starship Bridge simulator at FanX.
Right.
You may know that.
Right.
I got to do that with him and his little group that he had there with him. I was on
Okay,
I was on the science station.
So that was the crew you got to go through.
Yes.
You were telling me about.
Yes. And so I was at the science
Oh, yeah.
station, but then the tactical officer had to beam to the Romulan, Klingon, whatever station, and then I was like dual tasking. I was doing science, and I had tactical as well. And yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is cool. Let's see. This
Oh yeah.
that's an actual shuttlecraft Fairbanks that they had built, and I kind of want to build one now. But if you look at it, like if you look right here, yeah, you can see they have got
The
amazing
full LCAR system, yeah.
Yep. And there's even one up here too. I can
Oh wow, yeah, I see it.
yeah, it is. It was a very
Dude, in all honesty, man, I'm hoping at Shreveport in August, with Alan Ruck coming, I'm hoping their Star Trek group is out and they bring some cool shit. Because, you know, it's already gonna be really fucking awesome that the four of us are gonna walk up. We're gonna be in roughly the same uniform, you know, in the same era of uniform, I
At the
should
very
say.
least,
We're all
yes.
gonna be in the same era of uniform. And so, you know, it's already just majorly fun that we're getting to do that. And
Then
So I'm hoping they do something.
so this was just another family that we had run into standing in line for the photo op,
Yeah.
and we just decided to get a picture because why the hell not?
Yeah.
And of course they're all matching, which I thought that was so cool.
Right.
Oh yes.
The same reason I'm ready for
This
Shreveport.
this is the 8x10 that I got from Jonathan Frakes. And it was so super cool to actually get to meet him.
Yeah.
Because the day I got this, I was still in my Halo armor. I think it was day 2, and I was still in my Halo armor when I went to go get this.
Yeah.
And I get in line and so on and so forth, and I actually finally get to him, and he just like looks me up and down. He's like, "Did you make that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I made it." He's like, "That looks so awesome. You did an amazing job." And I'm just sitting there going, "Thanks. I really appreciate it." And then the next day, and then the next day, get this going. I go in for my photo op, which is this right here.
Yeah.
I go in and he was like, "Oh, it's so good to see you again." And I was like, "Oh my God, he remembered me from yesterday." And yeah, it was the coolest con experience I have had so far.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan Frakes has been one of my personal heroes for probably over 20 years. And I am 26, keep that in mind. Like, I have always loved Commander Riker. And even Jonathan Frakes more as I grew up, just seeing what he did. So, like, to hear that from him and to, like, have that
Right.
is just...
Right.
It pulls at my heartstrings in a way I didn't think possible.
Yeah, like, you know, you've heard my stories about John Wesley Shipp and James Arnold Taylor with the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I fucking, you know, why the Flash is my favorite superhero. You know, getting to meet those guys and hearing the words out of their mouths, you know, as they talk to me, as just the, you know, as the character, as themselves, you know, it's just, it means so much to me. So yeah, I totally understand how you feel. I'm on my Facebook right now. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna find my old photo album of the 2016 con.
Well, while you're doing that, so for those of you who are wondering what my actual Halo armor that I built looks like, there it is, right there. So that is my ODST armor that I built and painted myself.
Here we go. So this is my favorite photo
Me.
from that convention.
Oh, that's awesome.
My buddy Bryce is down there in the red shirt. And now we're standing here for about 30, 45 minutes in that position. All of us, the 4 of us, 5 of us. Because I had said something extremely stupid. But it was funny. It's fucking hilarious. Funny. So everybody, you know, we're getting our pictures, you know, our people are getting our pictures for us. And then some other people come up to get pictures. And then the actual photographer for the con for Creation Entertainment came over to get his picture. And I noticed his little badge saying Creation Entertainment Photographer. And I just blurted out, "Oh, great, the press is here. I can see it now. Kirk hates the next generation." And everybody falls out laughing. It was just one of those great moments. You can't really tell, but this guy had done something awesome with his uniform.
Oh.
he kind of
Hold on. Let me
fucked
switch
it
back
up.
to you
He
here
hit it
real
with-
quick, buddy. Oh, no, that's not
What's
what I
up?
wanted to do. Let me blow your screen up real quick. Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
Now you're big.
but if you could tell, he hit it with buckshot. So
Oh.
he shot it with the shotgun in the shoulder to kind of give it those holes and everything, and weathered it very well to make him look like a red shirt, quote unquote.
You
And
could
it's
never
just
get me to
fucking
do that
hilarious.
to any of our uniforms.
Let's see. This is probably one of my favorites. This lady had made a dress skirt thing out of the tribbles, and
That
did
is
a
so
tribbles
cool.
with
That is awesome.
double with tribbles. Let's see.
So here I'm standing next to. That's Tank Tolman. That's Tank Nerd Jim guy. Oh yeah, there you go.
There is Kirk
Bill Shatner
and
and
Chekhov from the original series.
Walter
That
Koenig.
smile
Yep.
on my face. That smile on my face is because William Shatner leaned over in that exact moment and goes, "That uniform looks pretty good on you, Captain Kirk." And of course, and then there is me and Sean Kinney with the reproduction of the chair
Yep.
from that episode.
That is cool. So here's some more pictures I got at FanX last year. So me and this guy, the one in the blue, we had hung out like all day at that point. Like I made a new friend. And we had
Yeah.
just found this firefighter guy right here. And we were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like cuz we were both volunteer firefighters at one point. So we saw this guy and we're like, "Oh, we got to get a picture with him."
That's awesome.
Let's see, what else do we got here? Oh yes, this is from Colorado Springs last year. We had some green screen photos done.
Oh, nice.
So we got this one on the bridge. And then
Yeah.
I think you're really going to like this next one. Because there we are at the 501st booth. Sitting on Jabba's throne with a couple of Mandalorians in our Starfleet uniforms.
Well, and now I don't want you to take this as a bad thing. This is not a bad
Watch
thing.
it.
This is not a thing on you.
Watch it.
This is exactly your stature. Your stature in that photo. You look like you're about to tell me to find Solo and the Wookiee and bring them to the
Oh, fuck you.
Well, it's not a fat joke. It is 100% your stature is bring me Solo and the Wookiee.
Well, I just kind of went more for like a Boba Fett sitting in the chair kind of look.
Yeah, for sure.
And me and my brother are tall, and
No,
you can see our feet are still barely coming up off the ground just a
Yeah.
little bit. Like I'm on my tippy toes in that picture.
Again, I love making fun of the 501st. I love pissing them off. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
making fun of them. I love pissing them off because it's so fun and so easy to do. And I am.
And I
but
mean, they were-
love it when they want to compliment Star Trek uniforms.
Oh, they do. Because they were like, we don't
You know-
mind if you come in here. Like, we don't mind if somebody who bats
Yeah.
for the other team comes on in here.
Yeah. Because shortly after I got my Discovery uniform, shortly after I got the blue uniform, I went and, one of my buddies in the 501st was like, because we're friends, he's teasing the fuck out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other guys are like giving him shit like, dude, that is the best Starfleet uniform I've ever seen. Man, I haven't seen the Discovery one yet. Oh, that's so cool. They're giving him shit for giving me shit, but we're friends. So I dish it right back out. I told him his buttons were out of place, so I don't know how he got accepted. To which all the other 501st guys were like,
Oh. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Because they were all just so cool. They're like, we haven't seen that uniform before, because this was shortly
Yeah.
after, I think it was either during Picard season 2 or shortly after season 1 came out, and that was still that was still a fairly new uniform that we had gotten, but
Right.
as we all know, it's my favorite. Um,
You know, and again, don't get me wrong. I love the 501st. All right, hands down, I love that organization. Yes, a lot of them can be dicks. Okay, we all know this. It is a golden written rule. At least 3 of them are going to be assholes
at least.
about your Star Wars cosplay. If you're wearing a Star Wars cosplay and you're not one of them, they're gonna be dickish.
Oh, that reminds me.
But either way,
I have
they are great.
I
They're a great
have
organization.
changed
They do a
one
lot
of
great
my
things.
outfits for Shreveport, by the way.
Okay.
So I am ditching my Halo armor for this one. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Okay.
And I am building Old Republic Jedi armor. Like, here.
That's gonna be awesome. Oh, I figured out what I'm getting Darth Modelstein, by the way. So, come July, Darth Maul will be signing this little 12-inch action figure that I have of Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace.
Like, if I can get this to blow up a bit. Doesn't look like it because it's pain in my ass. What I'll do.
Well, you're talking about like the Obi-Wan style armor, right?
Oh. No, no, no.
Did I tell you what? One thing I want to do is I want to build Mando armor. Like, okay, you know how we have our Mandos looking on fucking Fortnite?
Mm-hmm.
I want to build that suit for me to wear at cons. And also, I want to build myself a Jango Fett suit because, okay, lots of people do fucking Boba Fett. Fuck y'all. I love Jango. Again, I've never understood the prequel hate. I've never understood it. Hayden Christensen is the GOAT. Hayden Christensen did a phenomenal job. If you hated on Jar Jar Binks, you're a piece of shit.
Like, we're talking armor like this guy here in the center.
Hold on, it's loading for me. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Gotcha.
BioWare
That's
Old
gonna
Republic.
be cool shit. That's gonna be some cool shit.
But going back to the con photos real quick, I have one more, and then I'm done.
Yeah,
Ooh,
this
there
is
you
what I'm
go.
having Darth Maul sign.
There
But
you
see,
go.
I was conflicted for a little bit because this one is the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm Black Series Darth Maul figure.
Mm-hmm.
I was conflicted for a little bit, but I think I'm going to get the bigger one signed because it, just seems a lot more fun. Ah, yes. Everybody's favorite classic cross-armed opposites.
You know what? Fuck you, first of all. Second of all, I thought the picture turned out freaking awesome.
No, that picture's great. I love that. Is that the fucking Borg recyclers in the fucking back?
Yep, that is a picture from a Borg cube. That was the background.
That is great. Okay, so it's not cross-armed opposites. It's you go this way, I go that way. But first, change
No,
spots.
it's more like back to back. Like, we're gonna take these bitches out because they're coming.
But yeah, no. Again, I want to build something that is on the level of the 501st for Star Trek. I want to build something on the level of the 501st for DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I there's room. There's room. I know the Trek one
Absolutely.
will be very hard to get off the ground because I disagree with the fact that it's a dying franchise. 100%. I disagree with the fact it's a dying franchise. But I do agree with the fact that this franchise is mostly known by the older fans. You know, like I can sit there and say I'm a younger Star Trek fan all I want, but the truth is I'm damn near 30. I am the old Trek fan. You know, like my
Shut up. No, we're not.
the Trek that was out when I was born is labeled classic Trek now. You know, like
No, it's
and that
not.
includes Enterprise.
Shut your damn mouth. I
That
refuse
includes Enterprise.
to accept.
And in 4 years, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, which still feels fucking brand new to me, will be 20 years old. In 4 years. The J.J. Abrams Star Trek is old enough to fucking drive a car legally.
No, it's not. No. No.
Unfortunately, my
No.
body.
No.
It is.
No. 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 No.
I mean,
Smash
well,
my little collection of starships, you jackass. Knock it off. I'm gonna break my little ships.
you know, at least it's not as bad as what I did the other day to you.
Fair point.
The June 2nd or June.
Fuck you.
Yeah, June 2nd is halfway.
You piece of shit.
Look, I wasn't gonna hear that shit by myself. Everybody got that fucking message.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I sent it to
damn.
everybody. Carter was a funny one. He sent back. He goes, joke's on you. That crisis is on. I've turned that into an ongoing crisis for me.
Yeah. I'm like, God damn it! I need to go like watch like Spider-Man or something, like the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I need to just indulge myself in 2000s nostalgia,
Yeah.
jackass.
Yeah. But no, I would. But again, I would love to build something like that for Star Trek, and I'm sure there's something out there.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure there probably is. I can almost guarantee it. But I want to lift it up to that next level. I want whatever it is to be on the level of the 501st, where you hear that and you automatically know these are the best of the best. You know, what do you need, baby girl?
Need a charger.
Okay, I will bring you one in just a second. Okay. But yeah, I want the name of that group to be on the level of the 501st. You know, it's what
Absolutely.
you aspire to be. You know, however that may be. I had talked to a few guys about doing a Justice Society of America here in Dallas and trying to build that into a 501st thing, because one guy does Star-Lord and his Star-Lord looks fucking comic accurate. I mean, the only difference between his Star-Lord and the comic book one is the comic book one is clean shaven because he's a 40s superhero. Guys were clean shaven back then.
Yep.
You know, and he sees me do my Jay Garrick all the time and he goes, your Jay Garrick is phenomenal. Not a lot of people do Jay Garrick. Would you be interested in this? I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in this. I want to do this. This sounds fun. You know, I've always wanted to do that. You know, I want to be on the level of some of these groups where I could go out and get my, get a table at the conventions, sign more members on, and grow it to be a nationally or internationally known cosplay.
Even like
community.
panels or something like that too.
Right. Because again, not shitting on the 501st. They are just very strict.
Mm-hmm.
And they have every right to be. Okay. Look, I know that I will probably never get accepted into the 501st, and that's fine by me. I've got my friends that are in the 501st, and I 100% support them. I love that organization. They just are very strict, and that's that. That's just how it is. Nothing wrong with that. You can when you build something that big, you have every right to be as strict as you want to be. And the reason they are so strict is because of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you can't just have a movie replica outfit. No, you gotta be the part. You've got to be out there doing the charity works, doing the walks, doing the donation sites, going to the conventions. While yes, for me, an outside perspective, getting to go to the conventions is a very big fucking perk. To me, that's the only reason I want to do it. It's not, but that's a very big reason on why I want to do it. I'm a charitable person myself, one of the reasons I'm growing my hair out as long as it is because eventually, once it reaches a certain length, I will be buzzing it off and donating it to one of those sites that uses hair to give cancer patients to let them feel like themselves again. I've done a lot for charity myself. We have what's called the Scottish Rite Hospital here in Dallas. And Scottish Rite, if you don't know anything about them, they're kind of a hospital for special needs. They work solely with people who have birth defects or are otherwise abled, not disabled. That's not a term they use. Otherwise abled is how they like to put it. Both me and my father were both patients of Scottish Rite. And one of the things I love to do is I'll dress up in some of my more famous costumes, most notably Ricky Rat, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and go up to the hospital and, spread cheer, visit with the kids that are up there. I love to go to Children's Hospital, hit the cancer wards, stuff like that, because it means a lot to me. But going to the cons is a big perk, from an outside perspective. My friend, however, or I should say my wife's best friend that I love her, like a sister. We just went to her wedding this past April. For her, it's a job. Going to those cons is a job. She doesn't go. I mean, yes, she gets her time to go and be a fan, but she still has to work those things. For me, it's the cheapest way to get into a con. For me, it's a fucking perk.
Yeah.
For her, it's a job. And she sees it that way. She loves her job. She loves this job. But it is a job nonetheless. Talking to the Mando Mercs, got a couple friends in there. It's a job to them. So I know when I do this, when I eventually get to a level where I can do this, it's gonna take some work, some real ball busting work, but it's gonna be worth it in the end, because again, it's not just about getting into cons for a cheaper price or whatever. It's about the kids, it's about the smiles, it's about the works that we put in, to bring something fun to people that don't normally get to have that kind of fun. And then later on, it'll be about showing off my craftsmanship, building a one-to-one replica shuttle, or a one-to-one replica bridge that I get to assemble at a convention and have my own room at a convention to build that shit and let people come in, take pictures, sit in the captain's chair, pretend like they're on the bridge, shit like that. It's my chair, John. Get up.
I already have blueprint stuff down.
Yeah. So it's like eventually it'll be showing off my craftsmanship and showing off the things that I can do with my bare hands when I put my mind to it, my creativity. Because if I never get to be a voice actor, I still want to make my mark on the world, and I still want to leave it a better place than where I came into it. I still want to make sure that kids who only ever know pain, at least for a day, get that smile on their face.
Absolutely.
Get to forget about the pain and get to be a kid again. You know, not going through tests, and that probably stems from doing my medical rounds when I was going for my EMTs. You know, you have to do 5 rotations in a medical facility. There's a plethora of, depending on what department you're with, depending on what school you're going through to get your EMTBs or your EMTAs, whatever it is, there's a plethora you choose from. For me, I was already going to school for pediatric oncology. So I was already dealing with kids with cancer. So that's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to do my rotations. And it was always a lot of fun to wear the scrubs that had like the little nerd stuff on them. I remember one day I was just wearing some blue scrubs. They didn't have any characters on them. They were the only ones I had clean. So I was like, fuck it. And I just threw one of my badges on. And I threw one of my Star Trek badges on. And I walked in this kid's room. His name was Tommy. I loved Tommy to death. And he goes, is that Star Trek? I was like, yeah, it is, Tommy. How do you know Star Trek? He goes, my dad likes TNG. I said, that's cool. Who's your favorite character? He goes, I like Worf. I was like, Worf's a great one, dude. Worf is a great choice. So what makes Worf your favorite? He's really cool and I like his head ridges. Klingons are awesome. I was like, Klingons are awesome, dude. And that's a solid reason why. And we just talked about Trek for a day. And for a minute, he wasn't this scared kid that was getting poked and prodded, IVs in his arm, tubes and shit running all over him. He was just Tommy, a Star Trek fan, talking with who he thought was a Star Trek doctor for the day. And I remember, this is a time when Marvel was really big.
Yeah.
Infinity War and Endgame were coming out. And Tommy was on the Make-A-Wish list. And he got it granted. And he chose to have Captain America come see him. And so he was getting excited. He was getting ready. And he goes, Chris, Captain America's coming to see me tomorrow. You should wear your Captain America scrubs. It's like, oh, Tommy, I'll have to see if I can't get them clean. They're dirty. I wore them a couple days ago, but I'll see if I can't clean them. And I was wearing my Captain America scrubs, and unfortunately, I didn't get to see Tommy that day. Tommy wasn't on my rotation list that day. But after I got off of work, and long after Chris Evans had already seen him and talked to him and all that stuff, I popped by his room. I said, "Hey, Tommy, I know I didn't get to see you today, but look, I wore him today." And he goes, thank you. That means so much. You should see the shield he got me. And he, his dad pulls out the shield. It's signed by him and everything. And unfortunately, a few days later, I had to pronounce Tommy, and that was one of the hardest things I had to do. But, it stems from that time, doing those rotations, doing them for class or for my EMTBs, those kids just the bare minimum helps them so much. And that's what it's about. That's why I cosplay. In general, it's never been for me. Like, yeah, I feel better about myself when I'm in a cosplay. I feel better about myself when I'm in a uniform for Star Trek and pretending like I'm on the bridge of my own ship, gallivanting through the cosmos. I feel better about myself when I'm in a Flash costume and pretending like I'm going to throw Jay Garrick's hat like he does in the Flash series and bouncing all over a bunch of people and coming back to my hand like Cap's shield, But it's never been about me. It's never been about me. It's always the smile that it brings to somebody else. Again, it's the reason that when I'm Mickey Mouse at a convention, I don't take the headpiece off when I'm on the floor and kids are watching.
And on that note, for me, it did start out as about me. Like it was more self-expression than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've started to grow up and meet a lot of people, it's slowly become more about, making my mark, like as you were saying, making my mark and
Mhm.
getting that, and not necessarily just the kids, but just putting a smile on somebody's face that may have needed it at that moment.
Right, you know, and I say the kids, and I'm wrong on that. It's not just the kids. I remember one of the first times I wore Jay Garrick out and about. This lady had stopped me, and she's about the same age as my mom. And she goes, "May I get a picture with you?" My mom is a big Flash fan. She loves Jay Garrick. That's her favorite Flash. And I'm thinking to myself, this lady is the same age as my mom, which puts her mother the same age as my grandparents, which means she read those comics as they were fresh off the deal. They were just coming out when she was a kid. So, you know, taking that picture with her and having her send it to her mom, I don't know what her mom's reaction was, and I'll probably never know. But I know for her, it was, ooh, I can bond with my mom over this. And it put a smile on her face to see a Jay Garrick walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, here in the Dallas area, you don't see a lot of Jay Garricks. Hell, you don't even see a lot of Barry Allens. You know, there are few and far and in between. When you think cosplay and you think conventions, we've said it plenty of times, you know who you're gonna see. You're gonna see a Superman, you're gonna see a Batman, maybe a Wonder Woman or two. A couple Green Lanterns, maybe a Green Arrow. It's rare to bump into a Flash. It's rare to bump into a Martian Manhunter. You're gonna see a few people in Starfleet uniforms. And
if you do, we're probably one of them.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, if you bump into somebody in a Starfleet uniform, they're cosplaying as themselves in Starfleet. Okay, very few people dress up as the character. Like I've seen a few people dress up as Borgs, but when they do their Borg, they give themselves their own designation. I've seen in my entirety since 2016 to now, almost 10 years of doing cons, I've seen one 7 of 9. I've seen one Queen Borg. And it's not because they're hard cosplays to pull off. They're really not. I mean, if you know how to do it, if you're building a Borg cosplay, you can build yourself 7 of 9. You can build yourself the Queen Borg. It's the fact that we kind of want to insert ourselves. Same with Star Wars. Yes, you're going to have your Princess Leia's, you're going to have your Padmes, you're going to have
And your Darth
Darth
Vader.
Vader. But when you're cosplaying a Stormtrooper, you get to give yourself your own designation. When you're cosplaying a Rebel soldier, you get to give yourself your own Rebel name. Cosplay a Mandalorian, you get to be your own Mandalorian. You ain't got to be Boba Fett, you ain't got to be Jango Fett, you ain't got to be Din Djarin, Sabine Wren. Like, yeah, you'll see them. Don't get me wrong. But you get to make your own character with that. And so, I've met a couple Spocks. I met a couple Captain Kirks. But the Klingon community is probably one of my favorites. I fucking love the Klingon community when it comes to Star Trek cosplayers. Because they get so into it. Like, the Klingon cosplayers I would put them on the same level as the 501st. Because of how into it they get.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk to the 501st members, if you want to talk to a character from Star Wars, talk to the 501st. They will talk to you as that character from Star Wars. Vader's going to be very Vader-like. The Stormtrooper's going to be very Stormtrooper-like. Princess Leia's going to be very much Princess Leia. My wife's best friend, Ashley, she's very much Padme when you talk to her. So, if you want to meet those characters, you can. When you meet one of the Klingon cosplayers, you are meeting a Klingon. It's not just, oh, I'm cosplaying Worf, da 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 da. No, you're meeting some dude that got his name off of like a Klingon name generator online or some shit like that, and it's just gone through and made a whole character. There was one, unfortunately, he passed away. I'd say about 6 years ago now. But he would go to cons, and if you had a Tribble with you, he would ask you if he could buy your Tribble from you. And then he would go, pull out super glue, and super glue your Tribble to him. And he was a Klingon that collected dead Tribbles. His whole thing was killing Tribbles.
Tell me, do they still sing songs of the Great Tribble Hunt?
Yeah, like he was so prominent within our Star Trek groups that he even had his own song written about him and about his Tribble killing abilities. It's
awesome.
great. Even though he's not here, even though he's not here, his suit will still sometimes go to conventions and stuff like that. If the whole group's going to be out there, his suit's coming with, his batleth is coming with, because his family donated it to our group. And so as we parade the suit around and get it to our booth, we'll sing that song as Klingons. And then when we get to the booth, we do the to let him know, to let Stovacor know he's on his way. And it happens every time, and it's a very touching moment. But on his suit, he's bought 3 of my Tribbles. And he did a really good deal on them too, because the Tribbles you'd buy, they're like $5 a pop. You get them in this little bitty container, and it's a little bitty Tribble. I think I got one right now, right here. And it's a little bitty Tribble. So you get them for like $5. He'd pay you 10 for them. And yeah, just a little bit of super glue, and then boom, it's on his outfit. It's on his,
on his bandolier or something like that.
Yeah,
his baldric.
So Ronald Hudson, I'm guessing your brother.
That is my father.
That's your father. That's what I love about making my Jurassic Park Jeep. Seeing other people, but especially kiddos, get excited about it and check it out. Honestly, Mr. Hudson, also, I want to say thank you for my friend John. He's a great friend of mine. He's like my brother. Thank you for him. Really. And your Jurassic Park Jeep. John knows I'm building my own. So I love Jurassic Park. If I didn't have this on, I've got a Jurassic Park tattoo right here that I customized myself. And I've got a Jurassic Park outfit. I cosplay the one and only Jurassic Park paramedic. I blended my 2 loves, being an EMT in Jurassic Park. And so I'm building my Jeep to be a Jurassic Park medical vehicle. So it's that's been a love of mine that I've been slowly getting into. It's a Jeep Renegade. So I've had a lot of people, all that's really got on it right now are the stickers and the name Rexy. But a lot of people are like, that's the wrong Jeep for Jurassic Park. And then I explain what I'm doing with it, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Hey, Google, front light 2 off. Getting to build my Jeep is a lot of fun. I can't wait to finish it. I'm in a Jeep group here in Texas that they absolutely they've been helping me out a lot. Find certain parts. I've been finding bullet bars that I want to get, a couple winches that I'm going to put on her eventually, and then I'm looking to get in some the emergency lights. But of course, I'm not going to go with the red and blues. I'm going to go with the orange and whites, so that I can't get in trouble. Because even if I get the red and blues, I could put the red and blues on there, just so long as I don't turn them the fuck on, unless I'm at an event. Like I have to be parked. The Jeep's got to be parked at the event, turn the lights on, and then it's cool for the red and blues. But if I drive around with them on, I'm getting pulled over and I'm getting, it's like, remove them now.
So, to show our avid viewers what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah. Love it.
This is my father's Jeep. And you can't see it very well in the picture, but he's got it on the hood too. And there is a little sticker right here, about as far as I can zoom in, but it's right here. and I can't remember. I think it's a dinosaur expert sticker. And
So,
here's the
on-
other picture of it.
I mean, give me a second. I'm going to disconnect all mine. We're going to go for a little trip outside. I'll show you guys my Jeep. It's right here. Let me.
Yeah, it's right there. And yeah, he even has for official use only right here on the side.
That is epic. Let's go take a tour of my
And that
Jeep
Jeep has
real quick.
turned more heads than I can remember.
Yes.
Oh boy. We're going on a trip. Our favorite rocket ship.
I gotta grab a flashlight. I'll be right back.
Dinosaur Protection Group sticker is what the heck is on the side of that. Thanks, Dad. But
So that stays right there. Okay.
but
It's got my handy dandy flashlight here.
did you
I call it sunlight projector.
I got an official what the sticker is. It is Dinosaur Protection Group sticker is what it is.
That's awesome. So I gotta ask, are y'all gonna keep the Sahara there, or are y'all gonna remove it and put something else there?
I don't remember what he said he's gonna do. It might still be there, but I don't know.
So here's my Jeep Renegade. So it's got the little Rexy sticker right there for the name of the Jeep. I've got on both sides, I got the engine sticker right there on both sides equally. Then Jurassic Park there. Eventually, right across here, across the store, it's going to say Jurassic Park Medical Vehicle. And then on the back, right on either side of the Jeep is where it's going to have the little yellow and red stripes. And I've got, of course, the Clever Girl sticker. And then my little Jurassic Park cover. But yeah, here's the other side of it. Like I said, just the exact same. So
Well, I mean, and
But that's not what
you've heard my plan for my Jeep, haven't you? I think I might
Yeah.
have told you.
yeah.
So I'm basically, because I have a similar Jeep. Mine is a 2-door, not a 4-door. What I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to paint it up like a Jurassic Park Jeep, but instead of the tan, I'm going black. The reason I am
Nice.
going black instead of the tan is I am doing an ACU Jeep, an Asset Containment
Hell
Unit
yeah.
Jeep. And I'm building a cosplay around it too, which I still haven't fucking gotten to. So if I don't get the Jedi armor done in time, that's probably what I'm gonna end up going with. By the way,
Well, what's your pant size?
my pant size.
Like, are you a large regular when it comes to like combat? Like,
Like I go like 36 by 34 is what my pant size is. For those of
so
you
yeah,
who
you're about a large regular.
sure.
Tell you what, if you don't do the Jedi armor, we could both do Jurassic Park one day. I'll take the medic. I'll hand you my red, black, and white camo pants. Because that's my Asset Containment Unit pants for Jurassic Park instead of Jurassic World. Because I like Park more.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong, I love the Jurassic World movies,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Park is the best. But you know, yeah, cosplay is just so great, and there's so much that you can do with it. You know, you can make your own character, and I think that's what gets a lot of us into it, is that you can make your own character in these fandoms. Sure, it's so much fun to cosplay the characters that we know, because that way you get to, you know, escape yourself for a little bit. But, you know, and it brings a lot more fun to the kids, you know, or other people that, you know, just like I said, like you said, just need a smile for the day. And meeting their favorite character is definitely going to do that.
And that's why Well, here's the thing. I have a lot of Star Trek uniforms. This one included. This was actually one of my later uniforms. My first ever uniform that I like actually got myself was the one I usually wear. And because Star Trek Card Season 1 had like just come out at that time. And I had been looking for that uniform because I'm like, that uniform is awesome. And that was originally, I only have one, maybe two Star Trek characters that I have built for myself. The only one I consistently cosplay as is my main one that I had built a long time ago. I want to say I created this character in middle school. So this character has been around for over 10, almost 15 years probably.
Yeah.
And originally the character actually started out in a uniform like this when I originally created the character, but that's just because that had been the latest uniform that was out at the time. As soon as they introduced that uniform, that's the uniform that I switched to. That is the uniform I have my characters in.
Right.
know you enjoy staring.
Yeah, for me, when it was my first ever Starfleet uniform was that one right there, the original series uniform. It was the very first one I ever got. Because again, that's what I was introduced to at first. You know, that's where I found my love. Well, the Wrath of Khan movies, but of course, the original series followed shortly after. Within the last couple of years, I've gotten the Wrath of Khan uniforms, you know, for myself, and you know, I'm starting to build my collection. You know, I've wanted at least one uniform from each show, from each destination, every Starfleet uniform we've seen. I've wanted one of each.
So I've got an update. So the Sahara is staying on there. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep, they've got T-Rex skulls in the place of those 2Es. They're cool freaking decals. They're awesome. I remember when we got them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like, you know, because I got the Renegade.
I actually have
you know,
magnets that I can stick on my car doors.
Yeah, well, you know, and because I got the Renegade, you know, it didn't have anything on the fender. So I didn't have to remove anything. So I was like, what's a good name for a Jurassic Park Jeep? And I was like, Rexy. Hear Rexy roar, you know, was my thing. Eventually the numbers I will be putting on are 94. And that's for, of course, a nod to the original film, the year it came out. Plus 9 is my, you know, one of my favorite numbers. It's a number that I've raced under. It's a number that I, you know, played baseball with.
Remember what number put on mine.
But I went for 94. So I just got to order them and put them in. I just don't know what color I'm going to do them in. If I'm going to leave them black, or if I'm going to come in with a white or black fade on them.
Like you could see in the pictures, my dad went with 76.
Yeah.
That's because that's the year he was born.
I like it. That's awesome.
1976. I think I was gonna go with like 70.
That makes your dad 9 years younger than mine.
I think I was gonna go with like 72 or something like that.
Okay.
I think I was gonna go with that because it was either gonna be like 70. It was. I want to say it was 72. That number feels right.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with that number because I think that was my football number in middle school. Middle school is the only time I played football, and I think I had the number 72.
I had. So for football, I had two numbers. I had 24 when I was younger, playing flag football, and 24 is great because on the 24th day of March is my birthday. So 24 fits, 24 would work. In middle school, I had number 45. But when I played baseball, I played under two numbers. I played under number 9 and number 97. And then when I raced go-karts, dirt bikes, and later sprint cars, I raced under number 6. So the reason I was number 9 with baseball is, so again,
Mhm.
I'm a massive Stars fan. And number 9 is the greatest player of all time, Mike Modano. So I wanted to be like him, number 9, and then I couldn't wear number 9 one season or whatever, and so I switched to 97, and because that's the year I was born. So I made it plain and simple like that. With NASCAR, with racing, go-karts, dirt bikes, and sprint cars, I went number 6 because I was a big fan of Mark Martin, who was number 6 in NASCAR, and number 6 is just a number 9 turned upside down. So, I kind of got a win-win with that one. And then my daughter wanting to play hockey, she wants number 4.
Mhm.
So that's kind of why like the 94 got thrown in there. I was like, it's a great nod to the original movie. It's my daughter's number that she's going to want to play under, and it's my number that, I played under with baseball. Unfortunately, I never played hockey growing up. I really, would have loved to, but, my parents didn't really have the money for it, and it wasn't big here. It's still not big here. It's growing. Don't get me wrong. Hockey in Texas is growing.
Yeah.
But it's not big. It's, we don't get snow and ice. Like if we get snow, it's not even snow, it's sleet, and it's very light dusting.
Right.
You can barely make a snowball out of it, and that snowball is probably going to fall apart before it gets to whatever you're throwing it at as it flies to the air. But there are still rinks around here. There's roller rinks, there's ice rinks around here. So, eventually it'll get big, and, my daughter wanting to play, I'm going to get her into it. I'm going to figure out a way to make it work. But yeah, that's why I went with 94. It makes the most sense to me. One of my current favorite players for the Dallas Stars is Miro Heiskanen, and he wears number 4. So there's the other, there's another 4 right there. So, and again, like I said, 45 and 24 were both a number for me. So, 4 is in there.
Right.
It's coded in there. So. But yeah, I can't wait to get my Jeep finished. I sure as shit. I had the opportunity to join a Jeep Jurassic Park car group. I don't know if you know him, but you might want to check him out. He lives in Missouri now. Started out in Houston, Texas. His name is Jurassic Vic on Instagram and TikTok. He's a great friend of mine. He does a lot of the wraps and paints himself for the
Check
cars.
chat, Chris.
But okay. I also popped the Jeep Trail rated badge off and replaced it with the Jurassic rated badge that has the T-Rex on it. I got that in an embryo cryo shave cream can from Etsy. Okay, so
Yeah, when it
I'd
comes
have to get up and
when it
get
comes
it.
to Jurassic Park, my dad is the one that's got all the cool shit.
Yeah,
I've got the cool Star Trek shit. He's got the cool Jurassic Park shit, and that's how that works.
tell you what, I've gotta go give my wife a diaper, so I'm gonna get up and get it. But and then I'll be right back. I'll tell you about it.
Diaper.
Not just put it on my cup.
Yeah, and this
Oh,
kind of
what
goes on with what he was saying in the beginning of the episode, like how we kind of get way off topic. Because originally we were talking about Star Trek Insurrection, and here we are. But that's usually how this stuff goes. For those of you waiting on the podcast on Spotify, I'm working on it. It's a slow going process because it's tedious and bullshit. And yeah.
It's coming along, guys. Don't worry. We're getting it out there.
I'm working on
John,
it.
you gotta remember, you gotta get the passwords to Hannah for the TikTok.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I even
Um,
have the password saved in my phone, because if not, I'm gonna have to change it.
Okay.
So let me check my
yeah,
check my pad here. Let me
when-
see.
When Jurassic World Dominion was coming out, Barbasol made the cans remakes of the cans. So I got both of the cans that they had out at the time. I'm still using the other one, but I emptied this one quick as shit. And at FanX, was it 3 years ago now? They had Wayne Knight, and so I took this can up there and had Wayne Knight sign it. He was very excited. He goes, "Oh, these are so much easier to sign than a lot of other things." But I do want the one that unscrews. I do want that one so bad with the little embryos in it. But then we did Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary came around a couple years ago as well, and we went to Fan Expo Dallas for that year, and on the 30th anniversary day, I ended up getting the Raptor Claw, which I've always wanted, and then the little resonator. Unfortunately, this does not make any sounds. It just kind of looks cool. The guys that were making them were trying like hell to make the resonator make the noise, or at least any kind of noise, and they just couldn't figure it out with the original prints. I'm sure they've gotten it figured out by now, and I do have their business card, so I will be looking them up again. But this has been my favorite piece. I absolutely love this. I've always wanted one since I saw the first movie,
Maybe
and
it's
seeing
not your
him throw
belly.
this away.
Spill out your intestine.
Dude, when he threw that away in the movie and you just see it land there, like, I know they picked it up after filming was over, but I've so wanted to scour the landscape of Hawaii to go see if I couldn't find it. Just because I wanted one so bad, and I found one. I was like, they wanted like $5 for it, a little 3D printed claw, and I was like, fuck yeah, that's mine. I had to. Honestly, yeah, Insurrection getting a lot of hate. Like, you know, I was telling John earlier, you know, when we started the podcast,
We were literally just talking about this.
you know, there are some movies with Trek, there are some things with Trek that I just cannot stand, but Insurrection is not one of those. You know, yes, I would say it feels a lot like an elongated next gen episode, but you could throw, you know, I've said it earlier, you could throw the Wrath of Khan in that with the original series. You know, it's nothing more than an elongated original series episode rather than it is a movie. The only difference between the two is the budget that they got, you know. And then, of course, maybe the uniforms and the style of the ship, but by all means, it's supposed to be the original Enterprise. It's just refitted. So,
I'll tell
you
your
know,
wife
I
not to
don't
laugh at the
understand a lot
password
of
I
the
have for
hate
this.
that the next gen movies get. You know, because when I look back at Star Trek, the original series movies, I don't like 5. You know, I don't like 5 with such a passion. I like the first movie. You know, it grows on me as time goes on, but for the longest time, I couldn't stand the first one. I couldn't stand the motion picture.
Motion
But when
picture,
it comes to the next gen movies,
motion picture used to put me to sleep. Like whenever
Yeah.
I needed to sleep,
Yeah.
that is the movie I would turn on, and it would
Yeah.
knock my ass out. Up until April, about 2 or 3 years ago, when they came out with the 4K remaster, I can't fall
Yeah.
asleep to that movie.
but like, you know, the next gen movies, there's not a bad one in the bunch. Sure, there's a, you know, Insurrection and Nemesis probably aren't as good as Generations or First Contact in my personal opinion, but they're not bad movies. They're really great. They're really well done. There's really just not a bad next gen movie as you could say there's a bad original series movie. Or Section 31, which, if you ask me, doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. What did she say?
She goes, "What the fuck is that password? What the actual fuck?" It's a
Yeah, that's a
password.
password. Yeah. Don't fucking question me.
But you know, like I said, Generations
Oh,
did it so well. Generations did it so well. I love the handoff. Again, one of my favorite things about Trek was the handoff between series, between the original series and Next Gen, between Next Gen and Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I loved those handoffs. And then when Next Gen got their movies, they decided to do another handoff between the original series movies and the Next Gen movies. I think it was beautifully done. There's a lot of nostalgia with that, and my nostalgia may be clouding me, but I don't give a fuck. It is my favorite of the Next Gen movies. You know, I love getting to see the Enterprise B. I love getting to see the Enterprise D, our beautiful, classy lady, just on the big screen. There's something about seeing her on a screen bigger than what we got watching the series.
And I keep saying, just wait.
You know, and
There's
then
a payoff.
Yeah, you know, and then with First Contact, the uniform. You know, we finally get the uniform switch. We get the black and gray. We get that gorgeous uniform. And then the Sovereign class. Just love to see it. Love the E. As much as I loved the D, I think the Sovereign class is just as beautiful. And then adding in the boyish charm that Jean-Luc Picard has when he touches the Phoenix is just something, as an aviation nut myself, I want to do when I see the Wright brothers plane in the Smithsonian. I just want to put my hand on it. Like I don't want to damage it. I don't want to do anything to it. I don't want to get on it. I just want to put my hand on it. I just want to touch it. I'm an aviation nut. Please. You know, it's, you know, and him getting to do that. You know, we talked about that when we went to that episode. You know, those movies just connect so well, and Insurrection did a good job of that even now. You know, the connection from Riker in the first couple seasons, no beard, clean shaven. And then, you know, over the years, he grew that beard, and that beard became as much a part of Riker as a bald head did for Patrick Stewart, for Picard. And then he goes back to, you know, the clean shaven throughout the movie. And you're like, you know what? As much as it doesn't, you know, as much as it's like, it works and it fits and it just complements his, you know, reactions to Deanna throughout the movie because of the planet, you know, letting out those youthful.
That, and it's a great callback to how he was in that first season.
Right. You know, and again, getting Worf back from Deep Space Nine for, you know, whatever reason, you know,
Deep Space Nine
you know,
Deep Space Nine had ended by the time Insurrection came out.
Yeah. But of course, even still, they're gonna say, you know, hey, he's on call from Deep Space Nine. We're gonna call Deep Space Nine and say, hey, we're kidnapping Worf for a little bit, just to have him, you know, in the crew again. It's always fun, and then getting to see Geordi from, we've seen him without the visor for, you know, a movie now, but now we get him without the contacts. Now we get him without
his implants.
The pieces on his eyes, and you're getting to see him, you know, and he's getting you get to see how he gets to enjoy the sights and gets that little twinkle in his eye.
That scene, with the sunrise. He's like, this is the first one I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he, you know, and he even states, like, forgive me if I don't want to go back, but I just want to enjoy as many of these as I can see right now. You know. And
I just wanted, before we go, just keep one sunrise.
And then Data. We've seen Data become more human-like over the years, over the movies. And now we get to see Data play. Get to see a childlike Data, which is a lot of fun. Like I said, Insurrection provokes a lot of emotions that, you know, for those that hate on it, it's, you know, it's like, I don't understand you. You know, I don't. Like, I do, but I don't. Because, again, there's probably someone out there that disagrees with me wholeheartedly on Discovery. Like, so much to the fact that they think Discovery is as much Trek as everything else, and they see it as a Trek show, and they love it as much as they love everything else Trek, and they hear me talk about it, and they're like, you're so wrong. I don't understand how you're... So, you know... I'm sure they're out there. And I would love to hear your viewpoint. You know, if you're out there and you're listening to me now, Discovery's coming up. You know, we got a few things in between now and Discovery, but Discovery will be coming up, and we will go over it. We're not going to gloss over it. We're going to actually do it. You know, we're gonna.
That's the one I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, there have already been some that we have not wanted to do, anyways. You know, me mostly, but there have been a couple that
You
we
didn't
have
want
not.
to do Star Trek 5 at all.
I did not want to do Star Trek 5, but I was here for it. I showed up. All right,
You did. You
Whatever,
did.
know,
I'll
I showed
admit,
up.
like you were a trooper for that. You trekked on through that one, if you'll forgive the pun.
Yeah. So you know, and again, the whole reason of the podcast is to introduce new people to Star Trek and give you guys. Yes, we're going to put our biases in there, but more or less an unbiased view. So again, we're going to do Discovery. So if you're out there, if you're listening, and you wholeheartedly love Discovery, let us know. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to have you on because I want to hear your viewpoints. I want to know why you love Discovery so much. Not so I can shit on you, but so that we can shit on each other as we go through that episode, because this is Task Force HR. All right, we know where we're going.
Yeah, we already know where we're headed on this one. Like,
Yeah, but you know, the point being, I want to know because for me, I can't see it. I can't see it, so I can't, you know, give it its due the way that it's supposed to be given. So, you know, with Strange New Worlds, I can't wait to get to that one. I can't wait to get to Strange New Worlds as much as I can't wait to get my wife into the original series and the original series movies as we're doing our watch through of when it canonically happened, But, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, Strange New Worlds gave me a new love for new Trek because a lot of the new Trek that's been coming out hasn't felt like Trek to me. But this show has done a really good job of doing that, of bringing back that old writing style, that old episode style, while still giving it a new feel and still being what could be a new contemporary style show. You know, it's still very much a newer written show, but it's written more or less that old style way that makes you, you know, reminisce on Trek. And the 180 of the characters from Discovery to Strange New Worlds is a beautiful thing. Because Discovery sucks. But but you know, and there are some things when we get to Strange New Worlds, there are some things that I don't particularly like the relationship they're trying to set up between Spock and Nurse Chapel. Spock has always kind of more or less belonged to Uhura. You know, it's always, even the original series, Uhura and Spock had their thing. You know, in the movies, they had their thing, you know, and we really got it in the 2009 movies. But, you know, like I said, I'm going to let the show run its course. I'm going to where it takes, but you know,
absolutely,
I'm not ready to do Discovery. Discovery, and eventually we're gonna have to do Section 31. Yay.
yes.
But
Okay.
On the podcast, you know, we're not ending the podcast. You know, as we get
You're
to the end of
coming in
these
real
four,
choppy there,
stick
buddy.
with us. We're gonna. What's up?
You're coming in real choppy there, buddy.
Ah, shit. Hold on.
Oh, that's a beautiful face right there. Beautiful, beautiful freeze frame. Oh boy. Oh, he's gone. What the hell? There he is. Where'd he go? Where is he? Nope, not this time. Maybe try again. You there? Loading, loading. Maybe. Quite possibly.
No.
What?
Are we back?
I can hear you a lot better. Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now.
Oh, shit. Okay, how's that? Are we good now?
Fine now.
Okay, awesome. Let me just plug this in. Okay. But, as I was saying, once we get up to date with the movies and the series and all that, and we get to the end of it, we're not ending the podcast. As we said before, we'll just get to a new direction that we're going into. We get to explore, we'll be breaking down episodes, that we'll be breaking it down characters and on all that stuff.
And we could
really
even
getting
go
into
into the games. All the games
the
that have come
games,
out.
the
Like
comic, the
there was
book,
there was one.
you know.
Yeah, signal scrambled at the source captain. Yeah, no shit. But I agree with what my dad just said. It's never been a better time to be a Star Trek fan. So many movies, shows, and
Yeah.
games to dive into. And yes, I remember hearing that all the time when he was a kid. He'd sneak out of bed to watch original series reruns late at night. I remember him telling me that a lot when I was growing. Did we begin? Signal scrambled again? Kind of looks that way. Maybe? Possibly?
Oh, so bad.
Oh, there he is. Oh, we lost him. Gosh dang. We're having all kinds of fun today, aren't we? Maybe? Maybe? There he is.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, Kitty Hawk is experiencing some technical difficulties.
Oh, now I see.
All right.
But yeah, like I was saying,
Yeah.
we could even go into the games and everything because they're Star Trek games have an. I want to say, like, I don't want it to sound bad, but Star Trek games have a very colored history. There are some
Yes.
that are really good, and some that probably have some room to improve.
But you know what? I mean, that's not just Star Trek games. I mean, that's games in
Oh
general.
yeah, no, that's games in general. But Star
there
Trek games are
about 1,000
interesting
Star Wars games.
because they're
There's about 1,000 Star Wars games. The original Battlefront and Battlefront 2, fucking phenomenal games. Don't get me wrong, the later Battlefront and Battlefront 2 that were designed by a different company, given the same name, they were good games. Excuse me, they were good games, don't get me wrong, but they could do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they'd run off the original base, added what they wanted to, but run off the original base of the original Battlefront games, shit, they would have been perfect. They would have been perfect. You take, there are several Jurassic Park games out there. I'm going to talk to Jurassic Park fans again. Hey, there were several games out for Jurassic Park that were really good. There are several that like this could do a lot better.
But there wasn't
and
quite as many. Like there
No,
have
not as
been
many.
very few Jurassic Park games over the
Yeah.
years. And I
But,
think the story is
yeah,
almost kind of the same for Star Trek. Like Star Trek doesn't have too terribly many games that have come out over the
Yeah.
years. Star Trek games are very few and far in between. There's some pretty big gaps in
Yeah.
there. But
like, I by my memory, going off of what I know about Star Trek games,
Mhm.
before Star Trek Online became a thing, there was a Star Trek game based off of the Kelvin timeline where you got to play as Kirk or Spock running Gorn around the
Star
Enterprise.
Trek the game.
And I have that game.
I
have that game.
I might
It's a
still have
fun
my disc.
game.
I don't know if I have an Xbox 360 to run it.
I need a PlayStation 3 to run it, but I got it from PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I have it.
And
I think I have the disc for Xbox 360 somewhere around here.
yeah,
I haven't
And, like,
touched
don't
it
get
in
me
a
wrong,
while.
it was a fun game when I first played it, but there's not a lot you can do on that game.
Well-
With Star Trek Online,
Oh, Star Trek
love
Online
that
changed the
game.
playing field.
Star Trek Online, a lot like DC Universe Online, they really brought in something and did something that really opened up what could be a really good game. What could make or break a game. Star Trek Online when it first came out,
Oh boy.
it was very very basic, more or less. It was very much DC Universe Online. DC Universe Online is very
It
basic
was-
compared to Star Trek
It was
Online now.
very much
And that's me
an
playing
old
both.
MMO.
That's me being and that's me playing both, loving both. But from what I see Star Trek Online now and how I'm getting to play it, it's very different. I mean, a lot of similarities between it and DC Universe Online, but very different in a very different way. You get to do a lot more, and you get to, do I wish you could beam down to a lot more of the planets? Sure. The Briar Patch, which we would be at an Insurrection, you can go to that on Star Trek Online, but can you beam down to the Baku planet? No. Would I love that? Sure. But it does so much more that's able to, keep your attention. Even if you run through it all the way, there's still so much that you could do for your character.
And then, like we were talking about
You're never
earlier,
gonna
you
be done playing
have
the game.
you have Starfleet Academy. And now Starfleet Academy is, in my opinion, one of the best Star Trek games in existence.
Mhm.
It's set between movies 5 and 6. You play as a cadet at Starfleet Academy. And they have your simulator sessions, and then they have your, I guess what we would call character building, where you choose they have your RPG sections, and then they have your ship sections.
Yeah.
And most of the cutscenes are all full motion video, so on and so forth. It was that time. It was early to mid 90s when that game came out.
Yeah.
So that was all the rage of games at the time.
Which I think is probably the Starfleet Academy game that's on that little scratch off ticket.
Well, there was a little
It's probably
picture. There was a
exactly-
little picture on it. If I saw the picture, I could probably tell you.
Yeah, it's a
Yep, that's the game. Yep,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the game.
So
There is
But,
a box in my house somewhere that belongs to
yeah.
my said father, who got it way back in the day.
Yeah.
And it even
But,
came with a
all right,
little
guys,
Vulcan shuttle.
We've been running for about 3 hours now, so we're probably gonna call it here.
Probably.
But again,
We are
look
at
out for
2 hours,
more.
59 minutes, and 20 seconds and counting.
Well, there you go. So yeah, look out for our stuff that's coming up. Now that the communications officer has the TikTok, we'll be getting some stuff out for you guys. And then Spotify is going to get growing here soon. The YouTube's going to get growing here soon. We're going to have some other stuff that's going to be labeled Two Captains, One Pod. It's maybe not a full podcast episode, maybe just us getting online, saying hi, saying what up, talking to you guys. I am in works with a couple friends of mine that do shirts and stuff like that. So we're looking at possibly getting a merch line out soon. So be on the lookout for that. If you want, go onto my TikTok. My TikTok is the guy that cosplays. It has links in my link tree in the bio to both the YouTube page here and the Spotify. So you can go right there and follow both of those. I'm going to hit this because I think it's important. I'm going to start hitting this at the end of every episode. If you're ever in need, remember the number is 988. All right? Never go through anything alone. You are valid, you are wanted, and you are needed. So never feel alone. Reach out. All right? Whether that's on my personal TikTok or if you have to call the number 988. Just remember, 988 is the number. Non-discrimination, nothing to worry about. Just you getting to talk to someone who really wants to talk to you. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Two Captains, One Pod. We love to have you guys here. Task Force HR all the way. And for all of you guys that are already following both the TikTok page, the Spotify,
and the
YouTube, you are an honorary member of Task Force HR. So be happy. Count yourself in, and we'll see you at the Admiral's office. Captain Yarbrough signing out.
And Captain